What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. Pirate. Simulate Super Saiyan 1 SS Chapter 1. I came to the world of pirates with the simulation system. 001 I came to the world of pirates with the simulation system. Both of your parents have died, and you, who have just turned 18, walk into a casino in the town again at the said time with your last 100,000 belly. Close black lens bracket. With the help of the card sequence that was deliberately memorized before, you successfully won 1 million Baileys. Close black lens bracket. You left the casino extremely cautiously, but you were still stared at. Being prepared, you took out a knife and fought with the opponent in the alley. Close black lens bracket. You were so thin that you were defeated and fell into a pool of blood. When the passers-by around you saw this, they were afraid of not being able to do it. No one wanted to cause trouble. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You were dead. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected. Close black lens bracket. Looking at the illusory words in front of him, Yang Hao sighed secretly. He is a time traveler and has been in the pirate world for 2 hours. In these 2 hours, Yang Hao not only knew that this was the pirate world, but also knew that the current period was 1 year before Luffy went to sea. Of course, the most important thing is that Yang Hao also knows how to use his cheat. Yes, as a time traveler, Yang Hao also has cheat. His cheat, called simulation system, is capable of simulating the future and benefiting from it. But there is a price to pay for using this simulation system. And the price is money. Turning on the simulation system will consume 1 Bailey every second. It may not seem like much, but 1 hour is 3,600 Belly, and 24 hours a day is 86,400 Belly. You must know that Yang Hao's identity in time travel is just that of a West Blue civilian. His parents were killed by pirates in his early years, leaving only a bare home and hundreds of thousands of Belleries. That's all he has to start with. In other words, if Yang Hao conducts the simulation, it will not take 2 days. Just treat it like 2 days. But what benefits can be gained in 2 days? You know, the benefits in the simulator can only be experienced physically. And 2 days are not enough, whether it is to gain knowledge or exercise. In view of this, Yang Hao quickly set his goal to make money. As long as he earns enough money, he can improve his physical fitness to an astonishing level even by simply exercising. But how can a commoner make money? Work to earn a living. It is impossible to work part-time, and it is impossible to work part-time in this life. But when it comes to business, Yang Hao knows his own business. He is obviously not that material, and it is very likely that he will lose all his money by then. So Yang Hao thought about it and thought of doing something special. Of course, there are risks in doing side projects, but if you use a simulator, this risk can be greatly reduced, or even eliminated. Yang Hao quickly had an idea. That is to use the simulator to find some lottery shops. If he could simulate the future, he would naturally be able to remember the locations of some Lieutenant General lottery tickets, thereby obtaining huge benefits at very little cost. Unfortunately, there is no lottery shop in the pirate world, so Yang Hao can only sell for the next best thing and focus on the casino. Although the casino does not have any lottery tickets, there are still many real-time gambling projects. If you can predict the future, it is absolutely impossible not to make money. In fact, this is indeed the case. Yang Hao simulated for the second time and used the experience gained from the first simulation to win millions of Baileys with a capital of 100,000, but unfortunately, when he left the casino, he was cheated. Only then did Yang Hao truly understand how money and silk can move people's hearts. Isn't it true that a commoner who owns millions of Bellies and is still in a place where many people are looking for death is looking for death? It was from this time that Yang Hao encountered difficulties. You must know that he cannot bring those Baileys back to reality. He can only act in reality by obtaining practical and feasible methods in the simulation. So if he doesn't solve this problem, it will be useless even if he can win money. Ever since, in the subsequent simulation, Yang Hao began to try how to improve his strength and keep money. He was dumbfounded. No matter if he carries a weapon or asks someone to protect him, it won't work. Even with weapons, it is still not enough to fight others. It would be even worse to ask someone to protect you, and be directly stabbed in the back. After several failed simulations, Yang Hao could only change his mind and start reducing the amount of Bailey he won. From 5 million to 3 million. Finally up to 1 million. After all, those guys killed him for money. If the amount does not reach the target, they will not take risks. Sure enough. As the number of Baileys in Yang Hao's hand decreased, the number of people who attacked and killed him became fewer and fewer. When it reached 1 million Baileys, there was only one person left. But Yang Hao is helpless and a scumbag. Even if he has a knife in his hand, he is still defeated by the opponent. What the hell? Yang Hao was angry. Although he has used it sparingly, the money he currently has fallen below the 100,000 Belly mark. If he doesn't work for a while, when the money is spent, maybe he will really go to work. Good thing. Next, when Yang Hao gritted his teeth and started a new simulation, he finally got good results. You take the last Bailey and walk into a casino in the town again at the said time. close black lens bracket. With the help of the card sequence that was deliberately memorized before, you successfully 800,000 won belly, close black lens bracket. You left the casino extremely cautiously, being careful along the way, as if you were a thief, close black lens bracket. But then, what surprises you is that the expected ambush did not appear, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket, leave the casino and get home safely without any danger, close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected, close black lens bracket. Yang Hao suddenly became energetic. Nima, I finally survived for once. By now, Yang Hao has fully realized the dangers of the pirate world. The peace in the anime is completely an illusion. The real world of pirates is only 100 times crueler than people imagine. The weak eat the strong, the fittest survive. Yang Hao secretly reminded himself to be more cautious. He who owns a simulator must be careful. Chapter 2. With millions in hand, it's time to increase your strength. 002 I got several million, it's time to increase my strength. Yang Hao reminded himself that he must be patient. Because of this idea, although the simulation was considered a success this time, he did not take action and continued the simulation. You take the last Bailey and walk into a casino in the town twice at the set time. In the end, you 800,000 won Baileys and went home safely, close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected, close black lens bracket. After seeing the simulation results this time, Yang Hao nodded secretly. It seems that there is indeed no danger for less than 1 million Baileys. 1 million Baileys will still make people excited and take desperate risks. But hundreds of thousands of Baileys, not so much. Of course, even if he succeeded again, Yang Hao did not take formal action but continued to simulate. He has decided to follow the go formula, and of course he must implement it to the end. And he has just started, so he needs to be more careful and careful. 800,000 Baileys seems to be safe, but it's impossible to say for sure. What if something changes in a certain link, causing someone to target him again? And what happened next was exactly what happened. As if to confirm Yang Hao's thoughts, when the simulation reached the 4th time, something unexpected happened. You take the last Bailey and walk into a casino in the town at the said time. Close black lens bracket. With the help of the card sequence that was deliberately memorized before, you successfully 800,000 won belly. Close black lens bracket. You left the casino extremely cautiously, still cautious along the way, as if you were a thief. Close black lens bracket. On the journey that was supposed to be safe and sound, a thief suddenly jumped out and persuaded you to lose money to save your life. Close black lens bracket. You look ugly. With a roar, you take out your dagger and kill him. The little thief was killed by you, but you were also seriously injured and fainted before you got home. Close black lens bracket. Someone found you who fainted and Bailey who fell to the ground. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket, you were dead. Close black lens bracket, the simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected. Close black lens bracket. Looking at the simulation results this time, Yang Hao's face darkened. Sure enough, 800,000 is still not safe. Next, he lowered the amount again. 700,000, 600,000, until 500,000. After simulating 7 or 8 times and confirming that there was no danger to the 500,000, Yang Hao finally took action. At the fixed time, he arrived at the casino again. Of course, I still bring daggers and such. Along the way, he followed the simulated behavior to perfection. After winning 500,000 Baileys, he turned around and left without any regrets. But this time, I don't know if I was walking too fast, but I bumped into someone. I'm sorry. The other party apologized immediately. Yang Hao nodded lightly, continued to leave without saying anything more. But Yang Hao secretly couldn't help but panic. What's going on? There was no collision in the simulation. Although this small episode should not affect the result, Yang Hao was still a little scared. After all, now, it is completely a real operation, and he has no chance to do it again, fortunately. Along the way, Yang Hao returned to his residence without any danger. It seems like it's really just an insignificant episode. Call. Yang Hao held 500,000 Baileys in his arms and breathed a sigh of relief. However, such an episode also made him realize, no matter how good the simulation is, accidents may still happen in actual operation. This is probably butterfly effect. Yang Hao suddenly thought of this term. A butterfly flapping its wings in South America may trigger a tornado in North America. With a simulation system, he seems to be able to experience this feeling more intuitively. Just like before, 800,000 Baileys was obviously very safe, but one time something happened. So this is also caused by the butterfly effect? Something might have happened somewhere that Yang Hao didn't know about, causing his simulation results to change. Thinking of this, Yang Hao felt a chill in his heart. Now it seems that he still can't trust the simulation results too much and must keep an eye on it. With this decision, Yang Hao immediately revised his next plan to make money. In the simulation, he's still 500,000 won Baileys. But in reality, he only 400,000 won Baileys. No one would be tempted by 500,000 belly, let alone 400,000. It's absolutely foolproof. Of course, Yang Hao did not catch a casino gangster. There are 4 casinos in the town of West Blue Bowen where he is located. Yang Hao took turns winning money in 4 casinos. Go to this casino today and that casino tomorrow. With this rotation, it took 4 days to win 400,000 Baileys in a casino. This way, it should go unnoticed. Of course, every time he was dispatched, Yang Hao would simulate it several times before taking action. All in all, try to prevent accidents from happening as much as possible. Just like this, under Yang Hao's careful operation, 8 days later. Yang Hao's net worth has become more than 3 million Baileys. Looking at the money, Yang Hao finally breathed a sigh of relief. The first pot of gold was finally earned. Yang Hao will not go to the casino for the time being. Although no one has noticed him in the 4 casinos, the chance of being exposed again and again is still not small. Gangs are rampant in West Blue. If he is targeted by the gangs, his life will be difficult. So to be cautious, it was better for him to avoid the limelight. Even if you want to continue making money, you have to wait a few days before doing so. But now, with more than 3 million Baileys, he can consider improving his strength. Chapter 3. Does training effect require devil fruit? 003 Exercise effect. Do you need devil fruit? Yang Hao's eyes fell on more than 3 million Baileys, with a look of contemplation on his face. More than 3 million. This amount of money can fully support him to open the simulator for more than a month. Whether it's acquiring knowledge or exercising, it should be effective within a month. Compared to acquiring knowledge, Yang Hao is now naturally more inclined to improve his strength. All because only by improving his strength can he gain a foothold in this world of strong men. At least, he doesn't have to be careful when going to the casino to win money. When he can safely obtain hundreds of millions of Baileys at a time, it's time to take off. As for improving strength, Yang Hao currently has 2 options. One is to buy more powerful weapons, such as pistols and firecrackers. Although I don't know the price, a pistol or blunderbuss costs hundreds of thousands of belly. If you have a pistol, you don't have to be afraid of ordinary people. But the pistol is not easy to handle. If you want to buy a pistol, you must contact people from the underground society. When the time comes, don't buy a gun, or you'll be in trouble if it gets robbed. Yang Hao thought about it and thought it would be better to exercise first. After all, a pistol is just a foreign object. Of course, the most important thing is that with his physical fitness, he looks like a scumbag at first glance. When he comes into contact with people in the underground society, others will regard him as a weakling, and it is very likely that he will be malicious. It's better to exercise first, at least to lose the otaku temperament. Thinking of this, Yang Hao came to the mirror. What was reflected in the mirror was a handsome guy who was 1.8 meters tall. She has short hair, black eyes, and a mole in the corner of her eye. It's just that his body is a little thin and his face is a little sallow. And this height is considered small in the pirate world. People over 2 meters tall are everywhere on the street. Well, exercise. Exercise. Yang Hao made a decision and went out immediately to buy a large amount of food ingredients and some fitness equipment. Now that you have decided to exercise, you naturally need to make preparations. After Yang Hao recorded his weight and other information, he started the simulator. Welcome to the simulation system. Please select the goal and time of this simulation. Set goals, and the only thing besides eating, drinking, sleeping is to exercise and keep fit. As for time, Yang Hao didn't set a month. After thinking about it, he just set it for 10 days. After all, if the exercise effect is not good, it will be wasted. If the exercise effect is good, of course you can continue. On the first day, you started exercising, push-ups, frog jumps, running. In the blink of an eye, the day has passed. When you wake up the next day, your whole body is sore, especially your thighs. You are so weak that you almost don't want to get up. In the end, you get up to eat and continue to exercise. On the 3rd day, you exercised too much and couldn't move anymore. You stayed in bed all day. On the 4th day, you grit your teeth and persist. On the 6th day, you seem to be used to it and start exercising numbly, but boredom arises in your heart. The 8th day is still a day of exercise. On the 10th day, you can do 100 push-ups in a row. After the exercise, you collapse to the ground sweating profusely. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has produced benign changes, 1. Muscle strength, and eliminated malignant changes, physical strains, and boredom with exercise. Close black lens bracket for Yang Hao, only 1 minute passed. But in the simulation system, 10 days have passed. At this moment, a warm current poured into Yang Hao's body and spread. Yang Hao snorted comfortably, feeling like he was soaking in a hot spring. After a while, this feeling gradually dissipated. Look how much has changed. Yang Hao quickly walked over and weighed himself. His weight before was 120 pounds. This will be called 1. Good guy, I actually gained 10 pounds and became 130 pounds. Yang Hao opened his clothes and took a look. His originally thin belly also showed signs of muscle. He raised his arm again and bent it, and an inconspicuous muscle suddenly protruded from his arm. Not bad, not bad. Yang Hao nodded. This effect is still very obvious. He was weaker than ordinary people before, but now he is comparable to ordinary people. Of course, it is impossible to say how effective it will be. Yang Hao judged that it would take at least a month for his physical fitness to be stronger than that of ordinary people. This is based on his hard work every day. If you do a moderate amount of fitness training, I'm afraid you won't be able to reach this level for several years. But being stronger than ordinary people is far from Yang Hao's goal. Although he is not in danger at the moment, no one knows when the danger will come. Maybe, if someone else is sitting at home, disaster will come from heaven. For the strong men in this world, it is not difficult to destroy a town with one punch. Even a certain island will be gone if you say no. Of course, in the current West Blue, the chance of such a thing happening is still very small. But the probability is small, which does not mean there is no possibility. Wasn't O'Hara Island suddenly wiped out? Yang Hao didn't want to die like an ant. So his idea is to become stronger as quickly as possible. But it has been almost 10 days since he came to this world, and the effect is still not good. Do you want to continue spending Pele on physical exercise? Yang Hao thought for a while and rejected the idea. As for buying a gun, Yang Hao still felt uncomfortable. A gun can't change anything. What he needs is the kind of power that even if he makes millions or even tens of millions of belly in the casino, he can definitely leave safely. A pistol can't do this, so, is there any other way? Yang Hao thought about it and realized it was true. That is, Devil Fruit. Chapter 4 The Importance of Devil Fruit, Looking for the Black Market. 004 The Importance of Devil Fruit, Looking for the Black Market. That's right, it's a devil fruit. Yang Hao thought of the famous cheat in the pirate world. Devil fruit. There is no doubt that if there is a devil fruit, then Yang Hao can take off on the spot. Even the crappiest devil fruit should be enough for him to get millions without worrying about others coveting it. When the time comes, with a large number of Pele in hand, whether it is making weapons, exercising, or developing devil fruits, you will get twice the result with half the effort. It's just that devil fruits are undoubtedly more difficult to obtain than pistols. Not only is it countless times more expensive, but it is also a rare treasure. Where can I get devil fruits? Yang Hao started thinking again. He actually doesn't know much about West Blue's devil fruit. Gangster Godfather, Capone Becky, may be the closest owner of devil fruit abilities. But here's the thing. Let's not talk about whether you can deal with Capone Becky. Even if you can deal with it, will you get the castle fruit after killing him? Not necessarily. Thinking of this, Yang Hao couldn't help but smile bitterly. Although the devil fruit can allow him to take off directly and even reach the sky in one step, the difficulty of obtaining it is undoubtedly a matter of picking chestnuts from the fire, which is countless times more difficult than getting a pistol. Of course, Yang Hao did not give up easily. After all, the devil fruit is his magic weapon that allows him to overtake in corners. As long as he gets one at random, he will be able to survive the weak period at the beginning, directly have the power to protect himself, and lay an amazing foundation, thus laying a strong foundation for reaching the top in the future. But where can I find devil fruits? Regarding this point, Yang Hao has some experience. In the original novel, it is often said that the devil fruit is worth 100 million belly on the black market. In other words, there are devil fruits on the black market. In this case, he can definitely look for it in the black market. If it's not available in Bowen Town, go to another town. Of course, this is entirely a matter of luck. Maybe there won't be a devil fruit in the black market once a year. But Yang Hao could only do this. Even if there is little hope, he is not willing to give up. But he didn't hang himself on devil fruit. Next, while looking for the black market, he also began to contact those guys from different religions in an attempt to buy guns. As for exercise, because the effect is not great, it can only be stopped temporarily. After all, the Bailey that Yang Hao currently has is very limited. He wants to use these Baileys to find devil fruits and buy guns. On the first day, you started to meet people from all walks of life in the town, because you had the simulator to tell you the truth. You didn't beat around the bush and just said you wanted to buy a gun and wanted to participate in the black market, creating a persona of great wealth. Close black lens bracket. Your personality quickly attracted the attention of a man nicknamed Zigu, but he had evil intentions and quickly deceived you into a den of thieves, which included several of his accomplices. Close black lens bracket open black lens bracket after a fierce struggle, you covered your stomach and the blood was bleeding. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket you were dead. Close black lens bracket, the simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected. Close black lens bracket. Yang Hao shook his head, not surprised by the results of this simulation. It would be strange if something could be gained if it went so smoothly. He continued the simulation. But this time, before the simulation started, a decision to avoid the dog was added. Now that he knew that this thin dog had bad intentions, Yang Hao naturally couldn't have any contact with him again. On the first day, you once again used your wealthy persona to walk among people from all walks of life, and met a man named Ed. From this Ed's mouth, you finally found out that the place where you can buy and sell guns is the store number 36 on the 18th Street. The outside is a convenience store, but there is a hidden secret inside, but you paid a tip of 100,000 belly for it. Close black lens bracket. The act of generous tipping laid the foundation for your disaster. When you went to the place where guns were bought and sold, Ed and his accomplices ambushed you. Open black lens bracket, you were dead. Close black lens bracket, the simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected. Close black lens bracket. Yang Hao smiled bitterly, still dead. Fortunately, this time, I found out where guns are bought and sold. For the new simulation, there is no need to inquire, just go directly. You went directly to the store number 36 on No 18th Street. When you wanted to buy a gun, you didn't tell the secret code and you were shot directly by the boss. Open black lens bracket, you were dead. Close black lens bracket. Yang Hao's face darkened. Damn, we need a secret code, but Ed didn't say it. However, Ed obviously had bad intentions, so he probably felt there was no need to say it. Helpless, Yang Hao could only go back to find that Ed. But this time, he took the dagger and struck it directly at the opponent's waist. After asking for the password, Yang Hao ended the simulation directly. It is worth mentioning that although the time can be set, it can also end early before the time is reached. This situation allowed Yang Hao to save a lot of Baileys, allowing him to try multiple times. Finally, after the 11th time, Yang Hao bought a second-hand fire gun. But this is only his secondary goal. Yang Hao's real goal is to find the black market. He thought for a while and set his sights on a convenience store that bought and sold guns. Since this convenience store can buy and sell guns, it probably has something to do with the black market, so it's absolutely no problem to start with him. The next situation proved that Yang Hao's thoughts were right. After buying guns several times, Yang Hao finally found out about the black market in Bowen Town from the convenience store owner. Finding the black market means that Yang Hao is one step closer to the devil fruit. Chapter 5 Black Market Experience, Black Market Auction. 005 Black Market Experience, Black Market Auction. One day later, in Yang Hao's hand, there was an extra fire gun. After some simulation, he bought a fire gun from the convenience store owner. Although his biggest target right now is devil fruit. But the meal must be eaten one bite at a time. It is also good to take down the firecracker first to increase your self-protection power. In addition, if he wants to go to the black market, he will certainly need some means of self-defense. Afterwards, Yang Hao calculated the funds on hand. The previous 10 days of simulated exercise, plus the simulation of buying guns and searching for black markets, cost 1.3 million. Now he only has 2 million Baileys in his hand. I don't know if this little money can be harvested on the black market. But now, Yang Hao has no other choice. If you go back to exercise, the effect will still be insignificant and you will not be able to change the current situation. So now we can only hope that something will really come of it. Not to mention being able to get the devil fruit, at least you need to know some information or clues about the devil fruit. Yang Hao started the simulator again. Welcome to the simulation system, please select the goal and time of this simulation. The voice of the system sounded in my mind. Yang Hao immediately set a goal, to find information and clues about devil fruits in the black market. If there is no black market in one black market, continue to look for other black markets. As for the time, let's set it at 5 days for the time being. On the first day, you followed the convenience store owner's prompts and came to the black market. The location of the black market turned out to be an underground warehouse, but the warehouse was empty. You thought you were deceived by the convenience store owner. When you go back and ask, you realize that the black market opens after 10 o'clock in the evening. Close black lens bracket. Sure enough, at 10 o'clock in the evening, you came to the underground warehouse again and were intercepted by someone. With the recommendation and password of the convenience store owner, you successfully entered the black market. The black market is indeed a black market. When you enter it, you will have an eye-opening feeling. Weapons, slaves, jewelry and gold, treasure maps, and even some ferocious beasts and sea beast meat are all there. Unfortunately, you didn't find the devil fruit, not even the information or clues. You are not in a hurry, but are trying to make connections in the black market to find other black markets. After one night, you gained nothing, and the next day, you appeared on time in the black market. There are still no devil fruits in today's black market. Close black lens bracket. On the third day, through your efforts, you made friends with a woman named Tuya. She seemed to be very well informed. From her, you learned more about the black market and even knew about the existence of black market auctions. It turns out that the black market is open every day, but the auction is only once a month. At the auction, whether it is weapons, slaves, or other items, the quality will be improved to a higher level, and there will even be some weird treasures. Close black lens bracket. You were extremely pleasantly surprised, because you know that the probability of devil fruit appearing in this kind of auction will be much greater. Because you have received a lot of information, you plan to make friends with Tuya and offer to treat him to dinner. It turns out that this Tuya is also a vicious woman. After a few glasses of wine, she gave you a fairy dance. In the end, you lost both your money and your life. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected. Close black lens bracket. This time, the simulation ended early due to Yang Hao's death before the set 5 days. Yang Hao was not too disappointed. At least you already know about the existence of the auction. Next, you can find someone to confirm the time of the auction and what is in the auction. Of course, eggs cannot be put in one basket. Yang Hao will continue to explore other black markets and expand the scope of his search as much as possible. On the first day, you entered the black market and found Tuya again. Although the other party is a vicious woman, it does not prevent you from getting more information from her. Sure enough, the black market is not only available in Boan Town, but also in Boya Town, 50 kilometers away. You immediately started thinking about going to Boya Town again. From Tuya's words, you learned that the black market auction in Boan Town would not be held for 5 days, so you decided to take advantage of this time to go to Boya Town and say maybe the black market in Boya Town directly sells devil fruits. Close black lens bracket. Leave the black market, make some preparations, and head to Boba Town. On the way, you encountered bandits robbing you. The newly purchased firecrackers helped you a lot. Unfortunately, the bandits were outnumbered and you still fell to the sword. Open black lens bracket. You are dead. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected. Close black lens bracket. This simulation still ended in death. However, Yang Hao's eyes lit up. He is not afraid of death, but is afraid of making no progress. You know, every minute and every second he turns on the simulation system costs money. If there is no progress at all, if real money is thrown at it, it will be over. Now, although the results are not good, we are finally getting new information. There is no doubt that if you continue to explore according to this information, you will definitely gain something. With this in mind, Yang Hao continued to simulate without getting tired of it. On the first day, you go to Boya Town. The road to Boya Town was not peaceful. In the mountains and fields, there are no gangs running rampant. But there are many bandits and wild beasts. After a simulated investigation, Yang Hao even knew that the bandits he encountered on his first trip to Boya Town were arranged by Tuya. What a vicious woman. If given the chance, Yang Hao would not let her go. But now, he mainly focused on exploration, so he completely avoided Tuya. But the journey to Boya Town was still not smooth. Yang Hao was alone, which was really eye-catching. It's okay if he doesn't encounter bandits, but if he does, he won't end well. In addition, the wild animals in the mountains and fields are not good. Yang Hao was killed several times, even if he was protected by firecrackers. After simulating it 10 times, he finally arrived at Boya Town. After arriving in Boya Town, it was not all smooth sailing. Fortunately, with the experience in Boan Town, Yang Hao quickly found the black market in Boya Town and got in. Pity. There are still no devil fruits for sale in the black market here, not even a clue. Yang Hao wrote down that the auction would be held in 7 days and returned to Boan Town. It is worth mentioning that there are only 2 black markets that Yang Hao can find at present. There are other places as well, but the closest ones are thousands of miles away. If he travels a long distance, Yang Hao may not have enough money and will just waste it on the road. Helpless, Yang Hao could only sell for the second best and guard the black markets in Boan Town and Boya Town. After knowing the time of the 2 auctions, Yang Hao no longer had to waste time in the simulator. He could wait until the upcoming auctions and then use the simulation system to check the situation. This purpose is naturally to save money. But despite this, after a few days, the number of Baileys in Yang Hao's hands was still greatly reduced. In the blink of an eye, it shrank to 500,000. Yang Hao finally became a little anxious. If this continues, the money may be spent and no clues about the devil fruit can be found. Fortunately, when the remaining 200,000 was spent, Yang Hao finally discovered something. Chapter 6 Ren Ren Fruit, Ape Form. 006 Ren Ren Fruit, Ape Form. On this day, as usual, you went to the black market to inquire for information. Now, after a few days of familiarity, you have become familiar with the black market. It is not difficult to find out information. But even so, you still didn't hold out much hope. You thought it would still be a fruitless day. But just when you were thinking like this, you suddenly heard an exciting message from Tuya's mouth. Close black lens bracket. The black market auction in Boan Town is about to be held. What items will be auctioned there, and news is gradually spreading that there is a devil fruit among them. Close black lens bracket. You were shocked and immediately continued to inquire about Tuya. Even in order to inquire more, you had to reveal your wealth in front of this vicious woman again. As you can imagine, you were killed by Tuya again, but before you died, you also got the information you wanted. In this auction, there are really devil fruits, but they are only of the animal type. Open black lens bracket. You are dead. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected. Close black lens bracket. When Bailey only had 200,000 left in his hand, Yang Hao finally discovered something. Devil fruit. Yang Hao's eyes lit up. In fact, he had long been prepared to get nothing even if he spent all his money. After all, as I said before, devil fruit is something that can only be encountered but cannot be obtained. Especially since he's still only in West Blue. The probability of devil fruit appearing in the world is definitely lower than that of the Grand Line. So now that he had actually found out the information about the devil fruit, Yang Hao couldn't help but be overjoyed. Although it is only the animal department, but Yang Hao decided to seize this devil fruit in an instant. At the moment, Yang Hao has no room to be picky, and as for the animal department, it's not as bad as imagined. In the early stage, the animal-type fruit ability seems indeed inferior to Logia and Paramecia. But in fact, in the later stages, the world will be dominated by the animal system. Thinking of this, Yang Hao did not hesitate and used his last 200,000 Baileys to plan this auction. You participated in the black market auction in Bowen Town. In the auction, you saw more good things, and even a lot of navigation tools. Of course, there are a lot of treasure maps, but I don't know if they're true or not. It's just that the devil fruit you want has never appeared. You are a little anxious, but on the surface you still remain calm. Devil fruit is such a precious thing. No matter how you think about it, it is the final treasure. Sure enough, an hour later, when the auction came to an end, an exquisite gold inlaid box was taken out. You were refreshed and had a premonition. The next moment, as the box was opened, a golden peach was revealed, but with long hair. Circles of spiral-shaped fruit are exposed in front of your eyes. You are endlessly surprised. The target has finally appeared. The next thing to do is to find a way to get it. Close black lens bracket. It is foreseeable that this matter will definitely be difficult to handle. Close black lens bracket. Next, you did not participate in the auction, but watched indifferently. Close black lens bracket. The appearance of the devil fruit brought the entire auction to a climax. According to the auctioneer, this devil fruit is indeed an animal type. It is a human fruit in the form of an ape. This is something you have never heard of in the original work. Devil fruit, but it doesn't matter, as long as it is a devil fruit. The auctioneer quickly gave an astonishing starting price, 100 million Baileys, and each increase in price must not be less than 5 million. Even though animal devil fruits are currently not favored, this ape fruit still fetched an astonishing price of 150 million. You observe this process silently, and you find that after the person takes the photo of the devil fruit, he cannot approach the devil fruit immediately, but needs to pay enough money first before he can finally obtain the devil fruit from the auctioneer. The same is true for other auction items. It is probably paid in one hand and delivered in one hand. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected. Close black lens bracket. Yang Hao fell into deep thought. In this simulation, he obviously made a lot of progress. He really saw the devil fruit, and it was clear that it was an animal type. Ren Ren fruit, ape form? Yang Hao had never heard of this fruit. But it doesn't matter, again, as long as it's a devil fruit. But this time, Yang Hao also discovered many problems. It is really difficult to obtain this devil fruit. He has no funds and cannot participate in the auction. As for robbery, with his strength, it is obviously impossible to defeat the black market guarding force in Bowen Town. What to do? Yang Hao thought hard. Maybe, I can pretend to bid and get closer to the devil fruit. Yang Hao understands the rules of the simulation system. As long as he eats the devil fruit during the simulation, it will be considered a success. It doesn't matter what method you use to eat the devil fruit. So, maybe he can pretend to bid for the devil fruit and finally succeed in bidding to get closer to the devil fruit? Yang Hao thought about it and felt that there was still a chance for this idea. Ever since, he started the simulation again. You participated in the black market auction in Bowen Town and did not move during the whole process, but when the devil fruit appeared, you started bidding. In the face of people bidding 5 million to 5 million, you bid 160 million at one time. You originally thought you could win the auction directly, but you didn't expect a competitor to appear. But for you, this is all it doesn't matter. After some bidding, you bought the devil fruit for 180 million. Everyone else looked at you as if they were taken advantage of, but you didn't care and followed the black market people away. When you get to the backstage of the black market, it's just as you thought. The other party requires you to give out 180 million belly before delivering the devil fruit. You said what you had planned for a long time and proposed to check the devil fruit first. Close black lens bracket. But the black market party did not agree and insisted that you provide the funds first, and cold sweat gradually broke out on your forehead. In the end, you showed your flaws and died under a random stick. Close black lens bracket. Chapter 7. The 5 major families of West Blue. 007 West Blue 5 families. The simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected. Close black lens bracket. Seeing the content of this simulation, Yang Hao couldn't help but smile bitterly. Sure enough, it's not that simple. Even if he pretends to be successful in the bidding, he still has no chance to get close contact with the devil fruit. Or, he can just grab it during the bidding. As long as he has a chance to take a bite, it doesn't matter even if he is besieged later. Thinking of this, Yang Hao tried again. You participated in the black market auction in Bowen Town. When the devil fruit appeared, you immediately rushed forward with a blunderbuss in hand, trying to snatch it by force. Close black lens bracket. There was a bang, and the hidden gunman shot you. Close black lens bracket. You fell in a pool of blood and were cleared out. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You were dead. Close black lens bracket. Yang Hao had a dark look on his face. Well, he thought simply. The defensive power of the black market is still very powerful. Even if there is a loophole, it is not so easy to exploit. It seems that we can only try other methods. However, Yang Hao did not continue to try. All because, the Bailey in his hand has once again fallen below 100,000. Such a small amount of money obviously cannot support him to continue the simulation. Yang Hao knew that with his current ability, there was no chance of obtaining the devil fruit. But it definitely cannot be done in a few simulations. You must understand everything inside and out before you can combine countless clues to find the only opportunity. Understanding this, Yang Hao did not continue to explore, but continued to make money. It is worth mentioning. Despite having simulated it so many times, only 2 days had passed since Yang Hao obtained more than 3 million Baileys. Now if Yang Hao goes to the casino to win money, he will definitely be a little conspicuous. But now, Yang Hao doesn't care about that much anymore. If you miss the ape fruit this time, God knows when will you encounter the devil fruit next time? This is an opportunity to take off, and Yang Hao won't give it up no matter what. A little adventurous, just a little adventurous. Of course, the remaining money should be used to simulate and avoid risks. Thinking of this, Yang Hao no longer hesitated and headed towards the casino in the town. 2 days later, Yang Hao looked at the 3 million Baileys in front of him and let out a long breath. This time, he won another 3 million Bailey from 4 casinos in Bowen Town. Just as Yang Hao thought, winning so much again, he really attracted the attention of the casino. Fortunately, this attention was only a little attention, and it did not cause the casino to send anyone to attack him. But next time, I can't tell. As for the nearby Boya town, there should also be a casino, but as far as Yang Hao knew, both towns belong to the same gang. If he attracts attention in Bowen Town, he will most likely be recognized immediately when he causes trouble in Boya Town. Therefore, before Yang Hao's strength improves, the way to win money in the casino is completely discontinued. In other words, if these 3 million Baileys cannot allow Yang Hao to obtain the devil fruit, then his development will be seriously hindered. Yang Hao shook his head to get rid of unnecessary thoughts. It's useless to think about this now. What I want to do now is to plot the devil fruit. After spending 3 million Bailey, if it still fails, it will not be too late to think about it again. Thinking of this, Yang Hao started the simulation again. The goal he set this time was to find a way to get close to the devil fruit. You participated in the black market auction in Bowen Town. This time, you did not participate in the devil fruit bidding. You just watched the whole process, keeping all the details in your heart, and thinking silently. Close black lens bracket. After reading this, you are inspired. If you join the forces of the black market, wouldn't you be able to get access to devil fruits? Close black lens bracket. With this idea, you quickly found the vicious woman Tuya again, and got some more information from her. Close black lens bracket. It turns out that the black market in Bowen Town, and even the entire black market in West Blue, is a common industry belonging to the 5 major gang families. Close black lens bracket. You are also extremely unfamiliar with these 5 major families. The only information you know is that one of the supernovas, Capone Becky, who has the castle fruit ability, is from one of the 5 major families of West Blue. After learning about the power of the black market, you suddenly thought, can you join the 5 major families and enter the black market to work? Close black lens bracket. This seems to be a feasible approach. Close black lens bracket, simulation ends. Close black lens bracket. Yang Hao looked at the result and his heart moved. It seems that robbery or something is currently impossible, so maybe he can save the country by joining the 5 major families, thereby entering the black market and gaining access to devil fruits? Of course, Yang Hao also understands that places like the black market have huge benefits and are unlikely to be entered by ordinary minions. But this is also a direction and worth a try. Yang Hao immediately changed his simulation goal and joined the 5 major gang families to enter the black market of Bowen Town as much as possible. Once, twice, 3 times, after 3 simulations, Yang Hao frowned. In fact, his idea is feasible. The 5 major gangster families of West Blue may sound famous, but it is not difficult to join them. As long as you are in good health and you are a mature man, you will be welcomed by the other party. But as Yang Hao expected, it is easy to join, but it is difficult to enter the black market. Any position here is just a fat job. Without connections and means, you can't get into it at all. Of course, if you spend time grinding it out, you should have a high success rate. But the problem is, what Yang Hao lacks is time. For him, time is money, and he doesn't have that much time to step into a job in the gang and enter the black market. The most important thing is that the auction will be held in 3 days. In other words, even if Yang Hao had money to spend enough time in the simulation system, he would not be able to catch up with the time for the devil fruit to be auctioned. But no matter what, this is a direction. Yang Hao continued to try several times. But in the end, they were either rejected, or they acted too eagerly and aroused suspicion, and were eventually dropped, without exception. After the way to get into the black market failed, Yang Hao was forced to return to the starting point. He participated in the auction again and tried to find new ways. Don't tell me yet. After watching the entire auction again, Yang Hao really had a clue. His gaze was no longer focused on the black market forces, but on the person who took the photo of the devil fruit. That's right. Yang Hao suddenly realized that if he couldn't attack the black market forces, he might be able to attack this auctioneer. Chapter 8 Hughes Pirates. 008 Hughes Pirates, you participated in the auction, and this time, you set your sights on the person who bid for the devil fruit. Close black lens bracket. To be more precise, this is a group of people. There is something special about these people. Their clothes are a little different from the people here. Relatively speaking, they are more rough. You have a guess, maybe they are a group of pirates. Close black lens bracket. Without your trouble, these pirates still spent 150 million to capture the devil fruit. The bidding ended, and the group of pirates followed the black market people to the backstage. Close black lens bracket. With a thought in your heart, you left the black market and waited outside. You then realized that there are actually quite a few people waiting for you. After thinking about it for a while, you will understand. Those people spend money in the black market. If they are still in the black market, they will naturally be protected. But after leaving the black market, they will have their own destiny, so on the way out, many people want to stop and rob them. Close black lens bracket. You are also one of them. It would be best if you could grab the devil fruit like this. Close black lens bracket. Of course, there is still a question, that is, will the devil fruit be eaten immediately after being handed over? If so, it will be troublesome. Thinking of this, you are a little more anxious. Close black lens bracket. As expected, someone started to rob, and many people were robbed, even the group who bid for the devil fruit. It seems that many people have the same idea as you and want to rob the devil fruit. Close black lens bracket. Bang, 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 strong gunshots erupted, and the remote street directly evolved into a fire scene. You did not take action immediately, but planned to wait for the opportunity. Close black lens bracket. Soon, what makes your face darken is that group of people is very powerful. Only 5 people have killed more than a dozen people. Not only are there gunmen, there are even some who are showing off with swords. Close black lens bracket. The person who robbed was quickly killed. You stood still and did not take action from beginning to end, because you have realized that even if you take action, it is meaningless. You are no match for that group of people. But what makes you relieved is that the group did not use the ability of the devil fruit. This shows that the devil fruit is very likely not eaten. Close black lens bracket. After thinking for a while, you followed. Since the devil fruit has not been eaten, it is necessary for you to find out the origins of these people first. It's just a pity that your tracking skills are too poor and you were discovered within a short time. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket, you are dead. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected. Close black lens bracket. Yang Hao summarized his experience, reviewed the situation, and started the simulation system again. This time, you did not participate in the black market auction, but were already waiting on the road that the group of people outside must pass through. Soon, a fight broke out again, and the group left safely. Close black lens bracket. With the last experience, you follow more carefully. This group of people seems to be heading towards the bay, getting closer and closer to your guess. You feel happy, and you are suddenly discovered again. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket, you are dead. Close black lens bracket. Yang Hao sighed secretly, still hung up. It doesn't matter, come again. Yang Hao didn't believe it was so difficult to figure out the identities of these people. And next, it turns out, it is indeed difficult to figure out the identities of those people. They were so powerful that Yang Hao was half-tracked several times, only to be discovered and killed. Later, Yang Hao learned his lesson and simply waited in the direction of the bay, finally gaining something. He was right. That group of people are really pirates. This is a group of pirates called the Hughes Pirates. Captain Hughes, nicknamed One-Eyed, has a bounty of up to 40 million Baileys. After hearing this news, Yang Hao couldn't help but feel his heart sink again. The pirate with 40 million belly is the biggest pirate in the Four Seas area. Later, Yang Hao made some inquiries and fully understood how terrifying the Hughes pirates were. The Hughes pirates in West Blue are equivalent to the Krieg pirates in the East China Sea. This kind of pirate group is probably about to head to the Grand Line. Yang Hao was shocked by this. He didn't expect that the person who bought the devil fruit had such a big background. But when he thought about it, it wasn't surprising. In the Shikai area, how can a pirate group that can produce 150 million belly be simple? But now, Yang Hao naturally has no way out. Although infiltrating the Hughes pirates was as difficult as infiltrating the 5 major families to plot devil fruit, he had no choice but to bite the bullet. 2 days before the black market auction started, you found the pirate ship of the Hughes pirates. Just like when you joined the 5 major families, you went to join them openly. Close black lens bracket. It's just a pity that the Hughes pirates are not as casual as the 5 major families. Even a small minion needs certain skills. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket, you are worthless and will be eliminated soon. Close black lens bracket. But it's not like you gained nothing, at least you got to know more pirates from the Hughes pirates. Close black lens bracket. You showed your fearless spirit again and secretly contacted the people of the Hughes pirates. With your ability and deliberate flattery, you quickly became familiar with the captain of the Hughes pirates, Amaha. Close black lens bracket. Through Amaha, you get more information about the Hughes pirates. For example, the Hughes pirates have not just one ship, but 8 ships. Their ship is not the main ship, and Captain Hughes is not on it either. Close black lens bracket. Another example, they are currently at the stage of entering the Grand Line, so just like the Krieg pirates in the East China Sea, they are constantly searching for resources. Close black lens bracket. And that devil fruit was obviously a major resource they discovered, so they spent all their money to buy it and dedicate it to Captain Hughes. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected. Close black lens bracket. The content of this simulation made Yang Hao nod secretly. There is a new breakthrough. He summarized the information bit by bit, and then changed the target. This squad leader Amaha may be able to help him join the Hughes pirates and even get close to the devil fruit. With this idea in mind, Yang Hao continued to try. Sure enough, 3 times later, he finally used his money ability to bribe Amaha and join the Hughes pirates. But if you want to be taken to a black market auction or get close to a devil fruit, that's still not possible. Yang Hao was not discouraged. Once, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times. He was completely at odds with the Hughes pirates. Finally, hard work pays off. At the 30th time, Yang Hao's simulation had made great progress. Chapter 9 finally got the devil fruit. 009 Devil Fruit finally got it. You joined the Hughes pirates through Amaha's introduction. With your abilities and your preferences, you finally joined the team going to the black market auction. Close black lens bracket. When you joined this team for the first time, you were very excited, but on the surface you were calm, just like a trainee who is out to see the world. The next situation has not changed. The first vice captain spent 150 million to obtain the devil fruit again. Close black lens bracket. You looked at the devil fruit, and even though you tried hard to hide it, your eyes couldn't help but shine. Unfortunately, the devil fruit was put away by the deputy captain, and even Amaha was not qualified to touch it. With the devil fruit, you left the black market, and on the way, you were robbed again. The fight broke out, and you could already predict the final result. The plunderers would be suppressed and killed, and they would not be able to cause any trouble at all. Seeing that the outcome would not change, you suddenly gritted your teeth, took out the gun and attacked the deputy captain, but before you could start, there was a bang from the side. You fell to the ground instantly, resisting the pain and turning your head in surprise. What you saw was Amaha's indifferent face. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You are dead. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected. Close black lens bracket. Yang Hao failed again. But this time, there is undoubtedly great progress. All because it was his first time to join this team. But now it seems that the reason Captain Amaha brought him along was probably to take this opportunity to test him. In the other party's heart, he may have been wary of Yang Hao for a long time. So the moment Yang Hao made any movement, the opponent immediately killed him. Sure enough, no one is stupid. Understanding, Yang Hao smiled bitterly. Although Amaha is a greedy person, he is not stupid now. Yang Hao rushed to join the team like this, which was obviously suspicious of him. However, Yang Hao had no choice. Time was really running out. He had to find a way to join the team, and it was inevitable that he would be a little eager. That's why Amaha saw the clues. Of course, this doesn't matter, at least Yang Hao has successfully joined the team, and that's enough. And what he has to do next is how to get in touch with the devil fruit. In fact, what he did just now is also feasible. If you launch a sudden attack on the vice captain successfully, there is a high chance that you will be able to obtain the devil fruit from him. Even if Amaha and others react later and attack him, it doesn't matter. It's a pity that Amaha killed him in time, otherwise, Yang Hao might have succeeded just now. But now that we know that the other party is suspicious, we can launch another attack while he is not paying attention. Thinking of this, Yang Hao didn't say anything and started the simulation again. You leave the black market with the devil fruit, and the robbers appear again. This time, not only did you focus on the deputy captain, you also secretly paid attention to Amaha. Close black lens bracket. Sure enough, from the corner of your eye, you noticed that Amaha was also quietly staring at you. Close black lens bracket. There is no other way, you can only take out a machete and rush towards the looters. Trying to find opportunities in the chaos. Close black lens bracket. Sure enough, when the fight started, Amaha wouldn't care to keep an eye on you, but after entering the battle group, you would not be able to avoid being slashed. You pretend to be scared and retreat, and after retreating to the deputy captain, you quickly take out the firecracker and design it. Bang bang. The vice captain fell down, but at the same time, you also fell to the ground. It turns out that while attacking the vice captain, the robbers also opened fire on you. Amaha and others react and also perform last-ditch attacks on you. Open black lens bracket. You are dead. Close black lens bracket open black lens bracket the simulation is over. This simulation has not produced benign changes and no selection will be made. Close black lens bracket. Looking at the content of this simulation, Yang Hao smiled bitterly. Unexpectedly, this time he did not fall into the hands of Amaha, but was killed by the plunderers. Say nothing. Continue. Once, 5 times, 10 times. In the blink of an eye, Yang Hao simulated it a dozen times more. In the end, he found to his dismay that it was impossible to rely on force to gain access to devil fruits. Sometimes he was killed by the Amaha, sometimes he was killed by the marauders. Sometimes, he was killed by the deputy captain. All in all, during the fight, there was no way he could kill the vice captain and obtain the devil fruit safely. After many fruitless attempts, Yang Hao understood that force would not work. Perhaps, it can only be outsmarted. After some thinking, Yang Hao turned on the simulation system again. Set goals and deceive Amaha, the vice captain and others. You left the black market with the devil fruit and were robbed again. This time, you did not take action. Instead, you cooperated with Amaha and others to kill the looters. Close black lens bracket. You continue to turn back towards the bay, but on the way, you suddenly say something in Amaha's ear. Close black lens bracket. Amaha looked at you in surprise when he heard this, then found the deputy captain in front and made a report. Close black lens bracket. After the report, the deputy captain found you with a stern expression. You are not surprised by this, because you just told a lie to Amaha. You said that you were also a devil fruit user, but it was Paramesh's upgraded fruit ability. Close black lens bracket. The so-called upgrade ability is to upgrade something and improve its quality. But according to you, this upgrade ability requires lifespan, and you rarely use it. But now, you have decided to use this ability on the ape fruit, so that it improves its quality and becomes an ancient species or even a fantasy beast species. What kind of ancient species? Phantom beast species. Amaha and the vice captain know nothing about it, but they have an unknown feeling. You are secretly happy, because this is the effect you want. Your purpose, of course, is not to upgrade the fruit, but to gain access to the devil fruit. The above words are the excuses you have come up with after thinking hard. Of course, the vice captain cannot simply believe you, and you understand this, so before the other party raised any questions, he took the initiative and said, I know you don't believe it, but I am operating in front of you. If you find out if something is wrong, you can shoot me to death. Hearing this, the vice captain thought about it and actually agreed, because he still had some understanding of the animal fruit ability. This ape fruit ability, as the name suggests, allows people to transform into apes. Close black lens bracket. Generally speaking, the main effect of animal-type fruit abilities is to make people stronger physically, but the extent of this improvement is also limited, or in other words, it is linked to its type. Close black lens bracket. Since it is an ape fruit, of course it cannot be too exaggerated. To put it simply, the physical quality will become stronger, but it is definitely impossible to be invulnerable. Close black lens bracket. So your guarantee is quite reliable, so the vice captain adopted your method and handed over the devil fruit to you, but also put Amaha and others on guard, ready to kill you at any time. You are holding the small box containing the devil fruit, extremely excited, but still pretending to be calm on the surface. Close black lens bracket. Finally, the box is opened, and the golden peach-shaped fruit with spiral patterns appears in front of you again. Suppressing your excitement, you pick it up, and then swallow it in one gulp under the astonished eyes of the vice captain and others. Down close black lens bracket. You eat the ape fruit and instantly transform into a 3-meter-tall ape. The vice captain and others reacted, cursed angrily and opened fire. In an instant, a large number of bullets poured towards you. Close black lens bracket. You were not afraid, but laughed loudly and started to kill the deputy captain and others. However, after being shot dozens of times, you still fell to the ground covered in blood. Just as the vice captain thought, transforming into an ape has indeed greatly increased your physical strength, but it is not invulnerable, especially when facing highly penetrating things like bullets. However, you are also very satisfied, because you have resisted several times. It took 10 bullets to fall to the ground without support, so you died with a smile on your face under the extremely puzzled eyes of the deputy captain and others. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has produced benign changes, 1 animal human fruit, ape form, eliminated malignant changes, 1 curse of the sea. Close black lens bracket. At this moment, Yang Hao's eyes lit up. The devil fruit power is finally available. Chapter 10 Ape, Son Goku. 010 Ape, Son Goku. The simulation is over. This simulation has produced benign changes, 1 animal human fruit, ape form, eliminated malignant changes, 1 curse of the sea. Close black lens bracket. Yang Hao's eyes brightened. The devil fruit power is finally available. For this devil fruit, I simulated it probably hundreds of times before and after, and finally achieved my goal. Call. Yang Hao took a long breath, and then his mind sank into his body. After eating the devil fruit, you will have a unique sense and be aware of the existence of abilities. At this moment, Perhaps due to psychological effects, Yang Hao really felt like something was coming out of his body. If I could describe it in 2 words, it would be strength. Yang Hao shouted, and his whole appearance suddenly changed. His panel suddenly became rough and turned brown. Golden body hair sprouted from all over the body, densely packed. A golden retriever tail emerged from behind. His handsome face has become rough, and the most exaggerated thing is his body shape. Originally only 1.8 meters tall, he suddenly grew to 3 meters tall, and muscles appeared on his thin body. Yang Hao walked to the mirror, and a 3-meter golden-haired great ape was reflected in the mirror. At first glance, it looks like a diamond, silently interpreting strength and beauty. Ape fruit. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Yang Hao couldn't help but grinned when he looked at his drastically changed appearance, and then started laughing. Now he is a genuine devil fruit user. What makes Yang Hao even more surprised is that he has not been cursed by the sea after becoming an ability user. All due to the sequelae of the devil fruit, the system assessed them as malignant changes and eliminated them directly. Isn't this so cool? Yang Hao's face was full of excitement. Although devil fruit is a good thing, it can even be called a cheat unique to the pirate world. But the shortcoming of it not being able to touch sea water is quite fatal. This world is spread all over the sea, and you might be drowned at some point. Although, I have never heard of anyone with strong devil fruit abilities being drowned. But without this shortcoming, it is always a good thing. To sum up, you get power for free without paying any price. It's so cool. Yang Hao's ferocious face was full of smiles. Next, he focused on the ape's abilities. He tried to move his current body, but felt that he had endless strength. The tables, chairs and other furniture in the room, and even the beds, were all moved by Yang Hao in turn. Needless to say, tables and chairs, even heavy beds, were all lifted by him with one hand with great ease. His current strength is definitely several times stronger than before, possibly even 10 times stronger. Thinking of this, Yang Hao became interested, raised his fist as big as a clay pot, and smashed it towards the table. Bang! The seemingly solid table was actually blown apart by Yang Hao's punch. Sawdust flew everywhere, and Yang Hao was stunned. So strong. This is definitely a power beyond ordinary people, abbreviated as Superman. The experience of suddenly becoming a Superman caught Yang Hao off guard and gave him endless surprises. To be honest, Yang Hao actually disliked the fact that the ape fruit was an ordinary animal before, but now he doesn't think so at all. The reason why he dislikes it is entirely because he has seen too many ancient species and fantasy beast species. But in fact, an ordinary animal type is a crushing power for ordinary people. Yang Hao remembered the battle with the Hughes pirates and others in the simulation just now. That is to say, he is not familiar with this body and power. Otherwise, even if the opponent holds a gun, he will probably be able to blast the opponent. Immediately afterwards, Yang Hao couldn't help but cast his eyes on the bed. After possessing great power, he had the idea of destroying everything and venting his anger. Yang Hao thought so and did so. Boom boom boom. Bang bang bang. In less than a moment, the entire house was demolished by him. Looking at the messy scene, Yang Hao felt that if he went to do the job of demolishing houses, he would definitely stand out. But soon, Yang Hao laughed dumbly again. Again, it is impossible to work part-time. It is impossible to work part-time in this life. Now that he has the ape ability, what lies before him is a bright road. Thinking of the wonderful thing, Yang Hao couldn't help but smile even more. Next, Yang Hao's heart moved and suddenly changed again. The golden hair all over his body has become shorter, his face has returned to a more human look, and his body is also nearly 1 meter shorter. He is still 2 meters tall, but he looks more muscular and agile. Yang Hao came to the broken mirror, took a look at himself, touched his chin, and smiled again. Why do you feel like you have become Son Goku? The animal-type fruit ability has 3 forms. Humanoid, anthropomorphic, and animaloid. What Yang Hao subconsciously transformed just now was naturally a completely animal form. But now, it has become a human-animal form that is half human and half beast. This form will obviously be faster. As soon as he thought of this, Yang Hao stepped forward and started running wildly. Whoosh! Like a strong wind passing by. In an instant, Yang Hao broke out at a speed that Lu Shang and Su Bingtian could not match. The strong wind blew against his face, and Yang Hao grinned again. Ha 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 ha. At this moment, he felt as if the sky was high enough for birds to fly and the sea was wide enough for fish to jump. The anxiety that had always enveloped Yang Hao's heart was greatly reduced. Next, it is undoubtedly his moment to take off. Chapter 11 confronted the Hughes pirates and were killed. 011 confronted the Hughes pirates and was killed. Soon. Yang Hao changed back to human form. Although extremely excited, Yang Hao was not completely carried away. He knew that even if he gained the ape ability, he would not be invincible, but he had just laid a solid foundation. Just like a skyscraper, no matter how good the foundation is, you cannot be careless when building the building. Yang Hao started the simulator again. At this time, he only had 500,000 belly left on hand. Fortunately, he no longer needs to simulate such a big project as snatching the devil fruit. Just use these Baileys to get familiar with the ape fruit abilities. In fact, even without spending any money, Yang Hao was confident that he would be completely familiar with the fruit's abilities within a few days. After all, he has long been familiar with the abilities of animal fruits, and all he has to do is to put some theories into practice. But now, Yang Hao obviously doesn't have to worry about money. It's naturally good to be able to save a little time. Thinking like this, Yang Hao turned on the simulation system again. Wait a minute, now that I have eaten the ape fruit, it should have disappeared. So, will there still be ape fruits in the black market auction, or will there be another devil fruit? Suddenly, Yang Hao's heart moved. After thinking about it, he was quite curious, so he simply entered the simulation again to take a look. If another devil fruit appears in the auction, maybe he will have another plot. After all, even if you can't eat it, you can still sell it. Selling one was enough for Yang Hao to simulate for a long time. By the way, the Hughes pirates and others have 150 million, or even more, in their hands. Do you want to rob them? Yang Hao licked his lips with a fierce look in his eyes. Originally, according to his idea, he planned to go to the casino and win tens of millions at once. But now, he suddenly thought of the wealthy Hughes pirates. These guys can spend 150 million to buy devil fruits, and there is definitely more money on board. Yang Hao suddenly realized that it was better to grab the devil fruit than to grab the Shusi pirates and others. After all, they had to cash in after grabbing the devil fruit, but the Susi pirates and others did it in one step. Of course, these two things do not seem to conflict. Yang Hao could first check the auction to see if there are any devil fruits, and then go and rob the Hughes pirates and others. Thinking of this, the corners of Yang Hao's mouth curled up slightly, and he finally stopped hesitating and started the simulator again. You participated in the black market auction in Bowen Town. At the auction, the final item was a famous treasure map. If it could be found, it would be worth no less than 100 million. Close black lens bracket. You shook your head. Sure enough, there is no devil fruit anymore. As for the treasure map, you are not interested. The risk of going to sea is too high, so it is not within your consideration range for the time being. And in your opinion, the treasure map is the most nonsense thing. If there is a real treasure, why would others make a road map? Are they deliberately sharing their wealth with others? This is something that no fool would do unless there is a reason for it, and this is probably because 9 out of 10 treasure maps are fake. The reason for the goods close black lens bracket. Of course, if the black market dared to use this treasure map as the finale, they must have verified its authenticity, but you still lack interest. On the contrary, what you care more about is the Hughes pirates. What surprised you was that no one from the Hughes pirates came to participate in the black market auction. You were a little confused at first, but after thinking about it, you understood. The current Hughes pirates focus on recruiting troops and gathering resources. If there are devil fruits, that's fine, but they are not very interested in things like treasure maps. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has not produced any benign changes and will not be selected. Close black lens bracket. Yang Hao shook his head and then continued to start the simulation. If the Hughes pirates and others did not come to the auction, he could only go directly to the coast to find them. Yang Hao would not give up on such a big fish. You go to the coast, and at the small dock on the coast, you see the pirate ship of the Hughes pirates. Close black lens bracket. This is the auxiliary ship, but it is still quite large. There is a pirate flag of a skull and crossbones with a red cross on the right eye, fluttering in the wind. You take a deep breath and then approach the pirate ship. There are hundreds of people on the auxiliary boat, but this is not enough to deter you. Close black lens bracket. Your arrival was quickly noticed by the pirates on the ship. A pirate scolded you and asked about your purpose. Without saying a word, you directly enter the human animal form and jump up from the rope ladder. Close black lens bracket. Enemy attack. Enemy attack. There is a monster. Soon the pirates. Shouts resounded throughout the pirate ship, and a large number of pirates filed out, including the Captain Amaha. You grin and start killing like a tiger entering a flock of sheep. No one can withstand your fists and feet. With a swing of your fists and a sweep of your legs and feet, you will either die or be injured. Bang bang bang. After realizing that they couldn't deal with you at close range, Amaha and others quickly organized the gunmen to launch an attack. Instead of resisting, you avoided the bullets, and then continued to kill through the cover. Soon, Vice Captain Fair was also alerted. He was a fat man with black skin and 2 swords. He came from the crowd and soon became your main opponent. You are not surprised but happy. The fierce battle will obviously make you familiar with your abilities faster, and you have become a beast again. After a while, there was cold sweat on Vice Captain Fell's forehead. His sword skills are pretty good, but he is no match for you in the beast form. The main reason is that you are thick-skinned and thick-bodied, and a slash with a knife will do no harm at all. On the contrary, your fist, with one punch, can hit Vice Captain and make him vomit blood. But in the end, it was you who fell in a pool of blood, because when you and Fair were fighting, Amaha and others were not idle, using sneak attacks, shooting and other means. Close black lens bracket. Being entangled by Fair, you were inevitably shot. As time went by, Blood flowed all over the floor, and your movements became sluggish and weak. In the end, Fair was chopped down while panting. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You are dead. Close black lens bracket. Chapter 12. 10 million. 012 10 million. The simulation is over. This simulation has produced positive changes, part of which is combat experience and part of ability experience. Close black lens bracket. The simulation ends. Yang Hao perked up. Somehow, he felt that he was getting stronger. That's because he is more familiar with the abilities and has gained some combat experience. These are all things related to the body, so they were all brought back. Yang Hao nodded secretly. In fact, he was not surprised by this situation. The strength of the Hughes pirates is not weak. Even if the captain is not here and he is just the auxiliary ship, his combat effectiveness cannot be underestimated. The opponent has both numbers and weapons. He is a rookie with abilities and is of the animal type. It is obviously difficult to defeat him in one fell swoop. So this time, he probably only killed dozens of people before being killed. This was the result of him deliberately dodging bullets, otherwise, he would have been killed faster. This simulation result also made Yang Hao understand that with his current ability, he would not be able to defeat the opponent for the time being. If you want to succeed, you have to improve your strength. In view of this, Yang Hao will no longer spend Bailey randomly, but use Bailey to familiarize himself with the ability of the ape fruit. Of course, he did not spend it all, but left 100,000 Baileys, intending to use it as a simulation and principle in the casino. Since he couldn't eat the Hughes pirates, he still had to go to the casino again. But this time, Yang Hao doesn't have to be so low-key. If he wins more than 10 million, it probably won't be a problem. Of course, Yang Hao will still conduct some simulation before actually launching it. And next, just as Yang Hao thought, after he became familiar with the ability for a few days, he performed the casino simulation again, and he successfully took away 10 million belly in the casino. After simulating a few more times and confirming that there were no problems, Yang Hao officially took action in reality. There is not much to say about the situation inside the casino. With the simulation experience, Yang Hao easily 10 million won Baileys, and then left with Bailey in his arms. But when he left, the black market also took action. Yang Hao had just left the casino when he was blocked by a group of guys in black suits in an alley. Boy, stop. The leader was a man wearing an eye patch. Yang Hao raised his eyebrows, with a half smile on his face. He has experienced this scene 7 or 8 times in the simulation. He even knew that the guy in front of him was called Raymond, and he was a minor leader in the Capone family, one of the 5 major West Blue families. He is responsible for all 4 casinos in Bowen Town. This time, the reason why Lei Meng was able to quickly lead a group of men to block Yang Hao was because Yang Hao had already been under their attention, so as soon as Yang Hao entered the casino, he was targeted by them. I originally thought that the opponent would just win a few 100,000 and then stop. In that case, Raymond might just send a younger brother to deal with Yang Hao. But now, Yang Hao has won tens of millions, so he naturally has to take action himself. Even now, Lei Meng's eyes when he looked at Yang Hao were filled with coldness. With a look, the dozen or so boys he brought dispersed and prepared to surround Yang Hao. Raymond had already planned to capture Yang Hao first and then interrogate him slowly. In their casino, there are many people who win money. But if you win 10 times out of 10 bets, it is definitely cheating. Although they still don't know how Yang Hao cheated, it is absolutely right to catch him. When Yang Hao saw this, he chuckled. Well done. Without saying a word, he directly activated the ape fruit ability. Golden body hair sprouted out wildly, and the body size increased rapidly. In the blink of an eye, Yang Hao changed from a handsome, thin young man to a 3-meter-tall golden-haired great ape. What? The gangsters who were surrounding him couldn't help but be stunned. Raymond, who originally had a cold face, was also stunned. What's going on? How could such a good person suddenly turn into a monster? Yang Hao grinned, revealing a big, sharp white fang. In fact, he is in the simulation and has been tested. You only need to transform into a human animal form to easily break through the encirclement of these people and leave calmly. But that would leave an impression on Raymond that he was not strong enough, so that he could continue to send a large number of people to look for him. As for transforming into a beast form and killing head-on, there is no such trouble. Raymond will take action and report the matter to the senior leaders of the Capone family. Then the Capone family will know that Yang Hao is a devil fruit user and will no longer pursue the case. Of course, Yang Hao didn't simulate that long, it only lasted a few days. Yang Hao was not too sure whether the Capone family would pursue this matter later. But what is certain is that no one was sent to look for him for several days. In this case, it is enough. Because of this money, Yang Hao was able to further improve his strength in a short period of time. When the time comes, even if the Capone family really pursues the case, he will not be afraid. Therefore, among the many simulation options, Yang Hao chose this most brutal method. Frontal and tough. Boom. Yang Hao stepped forward fiercely and started to kill the nearest gangster. The powerful ground caused a crack to appear on the ground he stepped on. Bang. One punch without the slightest skill was enough to kill one person directly. Immediately afterwards, Yang Hao continued to rush over like a tank without stopping, knocking 2 more people away. At this time, Raymond and others finally reacted. This is a monster. Hurry up and take out your weapons and shoot him together. The leader, Raymond, roared and did not forget to take out his gun from his arms. But as soon as he took out his gun, a shadow fell in front of him. A younger brother hit him directly, hitting Raymond until he almost fainted. Scattered gunfire soon rang out at the scene, but it was fleeting. When Raymond finally got up, no one could stand except for the ape monster transformed by Yang Hao. At this moment, the ape monster cast a ferocious look. Raymond felt a chill all over and dropped the pistol he was holding tightly. Then the monster grabbed the backpack that fell next to it and walked away without looking back. Chapter 13 3 months, Throwing Stones. 0133 months, Throwing Stones. Crash. In Yang Hao's new residence, bundles of Bailey poured out of his backpack. 10 million. Looking at this huge amount of money, Yang Hao laughed. Possession in simulation and possession in reality are two completely different feelings. A strong sense of fulfillment arose in Yang Hao's heart. Next, it's time to really start practicing. Yang Hao murmured, with a smile on his handsome face. 10 million is enough for him to practice for 3 months directly. Judging from previous training experience, Yang Hao will definitely make great progress in 3 months. And that's just physical exercise. If we focus on developing the abilities of apes, the effect will only be better. Haha, let's do it then. Yang Hao didn't waste time and started the simulation system directly. Welcome to the simulation system. Please select the goal and time of this simulation. The goal this time is naturally to become thoroughly familiar with the ape's abilities and develop them. As for the time, let's set it at 3 months. On the first day, you are ready to devote yourself to familiarizing yourself with and developing the abilities of apes. As a time traveler, you have a clear goal. You did not develop abilities at the beginning, but became familiar with them as much as possible. Besides eating and sleeping, you are focused on the familiar ability, human form, animal form, constantly switching in you. Open black lens bracket the next day, everything is as usual, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket the third day, close black lens bracket. A month later, through extremely boring training, you have become thoroughly familiar with the ape fruit ability and can use both transformation forms with ease. At this time, you have somewhat realized the benefits of the animal fruit ability. Close black lens bracket. If you obtain devil fruit abilities from other systems, you really won't be able to persist in practicing for a month, because the devil fruit abilities consume almost all your physical strength. With your original weak body, you simply cannot bear the heavy physical exertion, but the ability of the animal type fruit is different. On the one hand, it will greatly increase the host's physical fitness. On the other hand, its consumption is also minimal. Under the circumstances, you will have no problem practicing 24 hours a day. Close black lens bracket. It is precisely for this reason that it takes you 1 month to become completely familiar with the abilities of apes, and in the next 2 months, you plan to focus on development. On the first day of the second month, you begin to develop the ape fruit ability. Soon, you also discovered the shortcomings of the animal fruit ability. The animal fruit ability does have a huge advantage in terms of physical strength, but in terms of ability, it is somewhat unsatisfactory. Close black lens bracket. Unlike Logia and Paramesha abilities, animal fruit abilities are much more monotonous, especially ordinary animal fruit abilities. So, after a few days of development attempts, you find that conventional development cannot develop anything at all. Decent moves. Close black lens bracket. Some moves, even if they are developed, have little effect, and even feel like they are not worthy of their name. Close black lens bracket. In this situation, you were not discouraged, but continued to invest. Anyway, in 2 months, you decided to hone some moves. Close black lens bracket. The 15th day of the second month. You were practicing, and suddenly inspiration came to you. It seems that you really can't develop any short-range moves. After all, you are not a martial arts master, nor a 6th-level martial artist. Style Superman. Close black lens bracket. And your inspiration is, since short range doesn't work, why not try the far range? Thinking like this, you notice a stone under your feet, pick it up immediately, and shake it subconsciously, with a swoosh, under your giant. Under the influence of the force, the stones were violently thrown forward with a heart-stopping whistling heart. With a final bang, an obvious hole was punched out in the wall. Looking at the pothole, your inspiration suddenly took shape. Throwing rocks from the far end seems to be a good move. Close black lens bracket. You think of the stone-throwing beast giant among the giants. The ape you transform seems to be able to imitate the other person. Although you don't have such long arms, your power is no less powerful, and may even be stronger. Close black lens bracket. After you have this idea, you will start to practice throwing stones specifically. Close black lens bracket. On the 25th day of the second month, the stones you throw are like bullets. 3 months, you feel terrible about yourself at this time. The simulation is over. This simulation has produced benign changes: 1 familiarity with the use of ability experience, 2 stone throwing experience, 3 some muscle strength, eliminating malignant changes, and 1 boredom with practice. Close black lens bracket. Yang Hao perked up. At this moment, 2 streams of information spread in his mind. It was during these 3 months that I gained familiarity with the experience of using abilities, and the stone throwing skills I practiced later. In addition, Yang Hao also felt warm, and his seemingly thin body became half stronger. A fierce aura began to spread from the inside out. Yang Hao was not too surprised by this. It seems that cultivating the fruit of cultivation ability will also invisibly enhance physical fitness. When he practiced, although he mainly used his abilities, after a lot of effort, he still had some movement effects. Ever since, after 3 months, his physical fitness has become a little bit better and he has gained some muscle strength. This was an unexpected surprise. But what pleased Yang Hao the most was his experience in using abilities and his throwing skills. This is the key part of Yang Hao's current strength. Thinking like this, Yang Hao began to transform with a smile on his face. In an instant, he transformed into a human animal form similar to Son Goku. But the next second, his size increased and he transformed into a beast like King Kong. Sometimes human animal, sometimes animal-like. In just 10 seconds, Yang Hao switched 80 or 9 times. This situation may seem simple, but actually requires a lot of effort. At the beginning, Yang Hao couldn't switch so freely. After all, although transformation is supported by the ability, it also takes time for the ability to spread to every part. Yang Hao didn't pay attention to it before, but he didn't realize it until he actually practiced it. Only after he is familiar with the use can he be able to switch between forms freely. Otherwise, there will be a certain degree of stagnation. Although this stagnant time can be almost ignored, when a master makes a move, he will miss 1,000 miles by just a hair. Maybe if you don't transform in time, it will really bring disaster. But now, Yang Hao has naturally made up for this flaw perfectly. Next, Yang Hao maintained his human animal form and began further experiments. Chapter 14I, The Vicious Ape. 014I, The Vicious Ape. Yang Hao maintained his human animal form and began further experiments. The test method is also very simple, that is, running and jumping in the room. Whoosh whoosh, ta ta ta. Soon, the room was filled with dense sounds of breaking through the air and sounds of running. After a while, Yang Hao stopped and nodded secretly. Compared to 3 months ago, the human animal form was much faster at this time. This is not only because his physical fitness has become stronger. Mainly because he is already very familiar with the human animal form. Once you become proficient in controlling your body, you will naturally move faster than before. Immediately afterwards, Yang Hao thought and turned into a beast again. King Kong suddenly appeared, revealing his fierceness. Yang Hao's ferocious face suddenly showed a fierce look. Then he suddenly raised his big foot and stepped on it boldly. Boom! The whole house was shaken. Under Yang Hao's big feet, several gravels were splashed out. Yang Hao moved his right foot away, and another footwell suddenly appeared on the ground. Seeing this, a smile appeared on Yang Hao's ferocious face. Not bad, not bad. The power of the beast form is very amazing. Not to mention being able to tear steel with your hands, but breaking rocks and cracking the ground is not a problem. However, Yang Hao had already understood this. He turned into a beast form, not specifically to test the power of the beast form. The main thing is to test your stone throwing skills. Thinking of this, Yang Hao squatted down and grabbed a stone from the cracked ground. Looking at the wall in front of him, Yang Hao waved his wrist without saying anything. Whoops, boom. The stone hit the wall and fell apart in an instant, but a hole appeared on the spot with cracks around it. Seeing such power, Yang Hao smiled even more. The power of throwing stones is almost the same as the power of his direct attack. To some extent, the power of throwing stones is even greater. All because he can fire more than one stone, he can fire more stones, and even fire them with both hands in succession. Of course, although it is powerful, it is still useless if it cannot hit the opponent. So later on, Yang Hao set aside a period of time to practice his stone throwing accuracy. Now, when Yang Hao shoots rocks, he can hit at least 7 out of 10 shots, not only with perfect accuracy, but also with high accuracy even when hitting moving targets. Of course, this accuracy is limited to a small number of stones, but it is enough. After all, once the number of stones is large, accuracy is no longer needed. In general, he no longer needs firecrackers now, because he can easily simulate the effects of pistols, firecrackers, and even shotguns. With such methods, coupled with his powerful physique, it is obvious that Yang Hao has become much stronger now. Compared with 3 months ago, it is definitely an amazing improvement. Realizing this, Yang Hao felt that he should be able to attack the Hughes pirates again. Yang Hao did the math and found that there were still 2 to 3 million Baileys left, which should be enough. Thinking of this, Yang Hao did not hesitate and immediately turned on the simulation system again. This time, there is no time limit, just a goal, which is to capture the Hughes pirates and steal the money the other party has. After the test of strength is completed, your confidence in yourself has greatly increased. Without any delay, you go directly to the coast. When you came to the coast, you quickly found the pirate ship of the Hughes pirates. Looking at the pirate ship, your eyes showed excitement. Without any hesitation, you directly transformed into a human animal form, rushed onto the pirate ship, grabbed the rope ladder and jumped up quickly, but the moment you landed, you turned into a beast-like form again, like a cannonball, landing heavily on the deck of the pirate ship. The huge movement instantly attracted the attention of the Hughes pirates and others. Captain Amaha rushed up with his pirate men. Where did the vicious ape come from? You grinned, showing a ferocious white fang, and without any hesitation, threw out the stone in your hand. Close black lens bracket. Whoosh, whoosh, a frightening sound of breaking through the air sounded, and a large number of stones in your hand were shot away like shotguns. Close black lens bracket. In the blink of an eye, the Hughes pirates suffered a large number of casualties. Even the captain, Amaha, was concentrated by stones, holding a bleeding shoulder, and lost his combat effectiveness. Close black lens bracket. After 3 months of hard training, your strength is no longer the same as before. In the past, you still had to dodge bullets and so on, but now you have the power to fight head on. Close black lens bracket. More pirates poured out of the cabin, and you didn't care. You took out handfuls of stones from the clothes in your arms and danced with your hands. The screams rose one after another, and dozens of people were defeated almost immediately after they met. Vice Captain Fell, the fat, dark-skinned man, wields his double sword again and is coming towards you. Close black lens bracket. But what greeted him were powerful and terrifying stones that were as powerful as bullets. Stone. Vice Captain Fair was shocked and angry. He did not dare to neglect, and quickly waved his hands to block. As a result, the powerful and heavy stone hit the knife, and the terrible force made his jaw numb. Close black lens bracket. Vice Captain Fell was shocked and tried to negotiate with you, but you didn't listen at all and just kept shooting pebbles one after another. Close black lens bracket. Under your precise and intensive shooting, Fair was quickly hit, first in the leg, then in the shoulder, and finally in the head. With the help of powerful stone throwing, you can easily solve this troublesome guy Fair without getting close. Fair is the one who took the lead, and the remaining pirates are not afraid at all. After you killed a dozen more pirates, the pirates on the ship completely collapsed and began to flee. You ignored the escaping pirates. After waiting for a while, you began to inspect the pirate ships. Close black lens bracket. After confirming that there are no survivors or hiding people, you enter the cabin's warehouse. Close black lens bracket. In the warehouse, you got your wish and saw the savings of the Hughes pirates, a small pile of treasures, and boxes next to them. Inside the box are bundles of Baileys. You take inventory and are surprised to find that the treasure here is most likely worth 200 million Baileys. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You know, this time, it's going to be released. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has produced benign changes. 1. Some actual combat experience. 3. Some muscle strength. Eliminate malignant changes. 1. Minor injuries. Close black lens bracket. Soon, the content of this simulation turned into words again and entered Yang Hao's mind. The corners of his mouth curled up, and then he laughed again. Chapter 15. Destroy the Hughes Pirates. 015. Destroy the Hughes Pirates. Looking at the content of this simulation, Yang Hao couldn't help laughing. Although he had already speculated, Yang Hao was still very excited when he saw that he really crushed the Hughes Pirates and others. This means that he has truly gained the power to protect himself, and can also seize astonishing wealth from the Hughes Pirates. Sure enough, Devil Fruit has been of great help to me. With the ability of Devil Fruit, I am like getting on a train and racing towards the top at top speed. Yang Hao murmured excitedly. At this time, he had completely decided to destroy this group of Hughes pirates. As for destroying the auxiliary ship of the Hughes pirates, whether one-eyed Hughes will come to take revenge is not within the scope of Yang Hao's consideration. This Hughes has never appeared in the original work, so he is probably just a supporting character. And currently, he is still in West Blue and has not gone out to the Grand Line. Even if he is strong, his strength is very limited. Say it again. As long as all the auxiliary ship's money is snatched away, with this money, Yang Hao's power will probably rise to the next level in a very short period of time. But at that time, Yang Hao's power was definitely at the top of West Blue. It would be better if that Hughes didn't come to take revenge. If he came, he would be robbed by the way. Of course, although the simulation was successful once, Yang Hao still cautiously continued the simulation a few more times. In fact, Yang Hao was still a little dissatisfied with this simulation. First, he was injured. Secondly, many members of the Hughes pirates escaped. It was okay for those people to escape, but they obviously took some property with them. Yang Hao may not kill them all, but he will not forgive them easily when it comes to money. Even if those guys take away millions, it is still a huge loss to him. Therefore, in order to achieve perfection, Yang Hao decided to simulate it a few more times. This money still needs to be spent. It just so happens that you can also accumulate more practical experience through simulation, and you will be more confident when the time comes. Now Yang Hao does have power, but he still remains cautious. Unless he has absolutely no choice but to do so, he will only take action when he is sure of victory. Just like that, Yang Hao started the simulation again. Once, twice, 3 times. After the 6th time, Yang Hao's eyes flashed, and he suddenly stood up and headed towards the bay. On the coast, a pirate ship floats on the shore. Occasionally, when someone sees a pirate ship, they show fear. This pirate ship is the pirate ship of the Hughes pirates. Even if it's just the auxiliary ship, it's enough to make people awe. There were no other ships docked around the pirate ship, and even passers-by subconsciously avoided it. At this moment, in the cabin of the pirate ship, Fair, as the deputy captain, had just finished his call with the captain, one-eyed Hughes. During the call, Hughes wanted them to collect as many resources as possible. Thinking of this, Fair called Amaha as the captain. How about the black market auction in town? Are there any good things? After hearing this, Amaha said, Vice Captain, I heard that there are many beauties at this auction, and there is also a treasure map that is said to be very authentic. It is from the Grand Line. We want. Are you going to participate? At the end of the story, Amaha looked very interested. But when Fair heard this, he pondered for a few seconds, then shook his head. Forget it. Although they had a lot of money on hand, they had to spend it wisely. They all like beautiful women, but at this critical moment, they must not spend money on women. As for the treasure map on the Grand Route is just right for them, but the problem is, if they spend money on the treasure map, how can they enter the Grand Route? You know, entering the Grand Line is not that simple, and I heard that it is very dangerous. Spending money on a treasure map that they don't know is true or false is obviously not conducive to their current situation. To take a step back, so what if the treasure map is real? It is estimated that if I report it to Captain Hughes, there is a high chance that he will not agree. Unless there is something at the auction that can enhance their power, such as devil fruit. But now, if not, Fair would naturally not be interested. Let's continue to see if we can find the gangsters here and see if we can buy more arms. Fair said this. Amaha felt a little discouraged, but she could only nod her head. Just as she was about to say something, there was a bang from outside. The entire pirate ship seemed to be shocked. Fair frowned. What's going on? I'll go take a look. Amaha did not dare to neglect and quickly walked out of the cabin. Fair originally thought that Amaha would be able to handle it if he went outside. Unexpectedly, a series of screams followed immediately. Monster. Don't kill me. Hearing these screams, Fire Haipeng's face suddenly became cold. By this time, if he didn't react, he was no longer a pirate. Without saying a word, Fair picked up his 2 weapons and rushed out quickly. Which B********* D dares to provoke our Shushai? When he got out of the cabin, Fair roared. With the current status of the Hughes pirates in West Blue, it is not an exaggeration to call them the overlord of West Blue. Is there any blind guy who dares to come to their place to cause trouble? Pirates are unlikely. Could it be the 5 mafia families of West Blue? But the problem is, the gangsters are all on the land, so how can they provoke them if they are not in conflict with each other? Fire's thoughts were racing, but when he came out of the cabin and glanced around, he was stunned. I saw my companions lying on the ground, even Amaha was no exception. On the deck, a 3-meter-tall King Kong stood there calmly and exuded a fierce aura. Those who are here to cause trouble are not pirates or gangsters, but a monster. Fair was stunned. Chapter 16 Suppression. 016 Suppression. There is no doubt that the King Kong who attacked the Hughes pirates was none other than Yang Hao. 7 or 8 simulations have made him familiar with the game, and he has completely mastered the way to perfectly attack the Hughes pirates. To put it bluntly, there are 2, firepower. Powerful firepower. Use powerful firepower to suppress all enemies in an instant. The stones Yang Hao brought were simply not too much. Moreover, he can also use local materials, and the weapons of the pirates de Luo can also be turned into his assistants. As a result, in just a minute or two, Yang Hao killed hundreds of people. Even the Captain Amaha was beaten into pieces by Yang Hao. On the deck, blood flowed like a river. The King Kong transformed by Yang Hao stood there calmly, exuding a fierce aura. After this killing spree, Yang Hao had just warmed up. However, nearly half of the Hughes pirates had been killed or injured. At this time, in addition to the deputy captain Fair, more pirates emerged. Hiss. What's going on? Monster. Monster. Where did the monster come from? When the pirates saw the bloody scene, their expressions changed greatly. Countless people took a breath and looked horrified. Yang Hao glanced at it, without saying a word, took out a fist-sized stone from his arms, crushed it suddenly, and then raised his right hand and waved it violently. Boo-hoo-hoo. A sharp sound broke through the air instantly. Before the 5 or 6 pirates could react, they followed in the footsteps of Amaha and others. The terrifying situation made the nearby pirates scream in fear. Fair also felt a chill in his heart. Seeing this scene, he suddenly understood why most of Amaha and others were killed and injured in an instant. This seemingly strong King Kong monster did not fight at close range, but instead threw stones from a distance. But the rocks he threw were as powerful as shotguns with unlimited firepower. In the blink of an eye, another 30 or 40 people fell. Who are you? Why did you come to attack our Hughes pirates? Fair asked in great shock and anger. Before he could finish his words, he swung his two swords and started to kill King Kong. He finally understood. This King Kong is not a ferocious beast or a monster, but a human being. This is a person with animal fruit ability. Otherwise, he would never throw stones. But the problem is, as far as he knows, the Hughes pirates have not provoked such a person. Where did the other party come from? Faced with Fair's question, Yang Hao did not answer. Then he moved his steps and deliberately avoided Fair. This is the result of several simulations he made. If he faced Fair directly and deliberately killed Fair, the result would not change no matter how many times he did it. But in that case, he will be more or less injured. After all, when facing Fair, it was difficult for him to defend himself against attacks from other pirates. Being shot coldly is inevitable. However, after Yang Hao simulated it several times, he still found a way to take down the Hughes pirates without any injuries. That is, kill the pirate gangsters first, and then go back and deal with Fair. In this way, not only can the pirates be prevented from taking away the money, but you can also remain unscathed. And this is the perfect strategy that Yang Hao has figured out. Next, as expected, those pirate minions, with almost no one under Yang Hao's command, were cleared up very quickly. In the blink of an eye, the boat with 200 to 300 people was empty. At this time, something unexpected happened, that is, several pirates jumped into the water to escape first. When Yang Hao saw this, he didn't care. After all, the actual operation was still somewhat different from the simulation. Sometimes one of his thoughts or even one action may lead to different results. As long as the results are pretty much the same, that's fine. Although the pirates escaped, they obviously didn't have time to take away the money, so it was naturally harmless. After taking care of the pirate minions, Yang Hao turned around and looked at Fair. How dare you ignore me? Behind him, Fair, a fat man with dark skin, came towards him with a pair of swords and his face flushed. Yang Hao ignored him and killed most of the pirates, which made the vice captain furious. As the vice captain of the Hughes pirates, Fair is usually arrogant. But now, he was ignored by Yang Hao. The intense humiliation made Fair forget that Yang Hao had easily killed most of the pirates, and he became angry and killed them. It is worth mentioning that during Yang Hao's killing, Fair wanted to rush over and split Yang Hao in half or stop him from killing countless times. But all failed. All because during this period, Yang Hao suddenly turned into a human animal form again, and his speed increased greatly. After avoiding Fair, he turned into a beast again and started killing. The two forms, switching freely, allowed Yang Hao to finally achieve his goal of killing all pirate minions. Facing Fair again, Yang Hao grinned, and after using his human animal form to distance himself, he suddenly transformed back into a diamond-like animal form. Seeing Yang Hao transform into King Kong again, Fair felt a warning sign in his heart. Sure enough, a large number of stones suddenly shot towards him. Damn! Fair cursed loudly and started to dance wildly with his two swords. Clang clang clang. The stone that shot in front of him was suddenly cut open. But the next second, Fair's knee hurt, and he knelt down and screamed. Ah! Fair suddenly looked down and saw a hole in his pants at the knee, and blood splattered out. The severe pain immediately made Fair regain his composure, and what followed was a huge panic. He suddenly raised his head, and a contemptuous smile appeared on Yang Hao's face. As the saying goes, know yourself and the enemy and you will be victorious in every battle. With such a powerful weapon as the simulation system, Yang Hao naturally did not waste it. During those several simulations, he didn't have time to get to know everyone in the Hughes pirates. But Yang Hao still knew everything about the leader, Vice Captain Fair. For example, Yang Hao knew the opponent's sword skills, strength, and running speed little by little. And knowing this, it is naturally not difficult to defeat Fair. Although Fair's basic swordsmanship is close to the level of a swordsman, if he can't get close, he can only be blinded and become a target. But now, Yang Hao specifically targeted the opponent's weak points and attacked, directly inhibiting the opponent's actions. So Fair is equivalent to being reduced from a moving target to a fixed target. Seeing Fair's horrified expression, Yang Hao immediately smiled and crushed several more stones. Unlimited firepower. Yang Hao waved his hands wildly, turning into a hail of bullets, covering Fair. At the beginning, Fair could barely resist with his two swords. But the injured knee eventually affected him. Soon, Fair fell into a pool of blood, his face changed beyond recognition. In this way, the entire auxiliary ship of the Hughes pirates was suppressed by Yang Hao. Chapter 17,200 million and was killed again. 017,200 million and was killed again. Pirate ship, inside the cabin. Yang Hao looked at the treasures piled up into a hill and couldn't help but sigh. This Hughes pirate group is really rich. Among these treasures, in addition to a large number of Baileys, there are also a lot of gold and jewelry. According to Yang Hao's estimation, the total value of this pile of treasure is definitely more than 200 million belly. This is just the treasure of an auxiliary ship. How rich is the entire Hughes pirates? Several hundred million, or more than a billion. Such an amount made Yang Hao sigh. But thinking about the situation over the East China Sea, Yang Hao is not surprised. The Krieg pirates and the Dragon pirates, who can be called the overlords of the East China Sea, are both extremely rich. The former has a fleet with even more advanced weapons and equipment than Marine. Needless to say the latter. He directly spent huge sums of money to build an evil dragon empire. These two pirate groups are definitely worth hundreds of millions. And this is still in the East China Sea, which is known as the most peaceful. The Hughes pirates can become the overlord in the chaotic West Blue, and their net worth will only be more than that of the Krieg pirates and the Dragon pirates. After wanting to understand this, Yang Hao no longer struggled. Now that he has obtained this amount of funds, he must convert it into his own strength as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Yang Hao became very excited. If we say, obtaining the devil fruit before, it only laid the foundation for him to take off. So now this capital of up to 200 million Baileys will definitely allow him to really take off. Yang Hao estimated that after completely converting this capital into strength, he would definitely be able to run rampant in West Blue. Even in the Grand Line, he is not considered a weakling. In this case, let's get started. Yang Hao didn't bother to move the treasure back. That would be too ostentatious and a waste of time, so it would be better to just use it up here. As for whether Hughes would come to his door, Yang Hao was naturally not worried. It's okay if the other party doesn't come to him. If he comes, he will undoubtedly be sending money to him. Welcome to the simulation system. Please select the goal and time of this simulation. The goal this time is of course to continue to become stronger. As for the time, let's start with 3 months. On the first day, you spent some time cleaning up the ship and throwing the bodies into the sea. Although you wasted a little time, looking at the clean ship and the large amount of food storage here, you felt that this was a good place. A place of training. Close black lens bracket. After eating, you started to practice. This time, in addition to developing your abilities, you also started to exercise, because you know that even if you become an animal-type fruit ability user, it is necessary to continue to exercise. In the future, the vast majority of strong people have a strong body, even if they are not those with animal fruit abilities. This shows the importance of a strong body. Close black lens bracket. Time flies, and a day has passed. You don't feel anything big, and you continue to practice. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket the 3rd day, the 4th day, the 7th day, close black lens bracket. 7 days have passed, and you have not developed any new moves. Instead, you have had some effects on your physical training. Although this effect is not worth mentioning, you know that with the accumulation of time, you will definitely be able to perform brilliant moves. Flowers, and what you don't lack most right now is time, close black lens bracket. On the 8th day, practice continued, but on this day, an uninvited guest appeared. It turned out that the pirate ship that had not sailed for a long time attracted some snoops. You didn't say anything, thunder struck out, and directly killed the visitor. Although it is only at the minions level, it has also brought a shock. Everyone nearby knows that something seems to have happened to the auxiliary ship of the Hughes pirates. But with the lessons learned from the past, no one will bother you again in the next few days. Cultivation. However, the appearance of the spy seemed to be an omen. On the 10th day, 5 or 6 pirate ships surrounded the pirate ship you were on. It's the Hughes pirates. Hughes really came to our door. This is a one-eyed middle-aged man smoking a cigar. He looks very fierce. The weapon he uses is a mace. Close black lens bracket. You have no fear and are about to fight, but Hughes doesn't follow common sense and directly orders an artillery attack. No, maybe this is the normal way of fighting between pirates. Don't say anything, just shoot a few shots first. Close black lens bracket. 5 or 6 pirate ships launched a bombardment at the same time. The pirate ship you were on soon burst into flames, and was finally destroyed in the gunfire, and you were forced to fall into the sea. At this time, the benefit of eliminating malignant changes appears. As a person with abilities, you can still swim in the sea, but your situation is still not good. Close black lens bracket. The Hughes pirates are still firing cannonballs at you, and at the same time, the nearby pirates are also firing bullets at you. You wanted to dive into the sea to escape, but you are not that good at water. Soon, you were covered with bruises under the powerful firepower of the opponent. In the end, you were seriously injured and captured alive by the Hughes pirates. You met Hughes, after being tortured. Open black lens bracket. You are dead. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation will produce benign changes, 1 muscle energy, eliminate malignant changes, and 1 boredom towards practice. Close black lens bracket. When the simulation ended, the treasure in front of Yang Hao suddenly disappeared for about 900,000 belly. Yang Hao's body became a little stronger. But he was not happy. Unexpectedly, this simulation was forced to end so quickly. The most important thing is the revenge of the Hughes pirates. In fact, the revenge of the Hughes pirates did not exceed Yang Hao's expectations. After all, if Hughes can't contact Fair, he will definitely find a problem. In addition, the pirates who escaped will most likely report the situation here to Fair. Therefore, it is certain that the other party will retaliate against you. The difference is that it comes sooner or later. Yang Hao didn't care about this, but wanted to see if his current strength could fight against the real large force of the Hughes pirates. But it turned out that he was overthinking. Now he is no match for the main force of the Hughes pirates. In other words, in a naval battle, he is a younger brother in front of the opponent. He didn't even confront Hughes himself, but was destroyed by the opponent's firepower. Yang Hao shook his head. However, this time the simulation also made Yang Hao discover many problems. For example, swimming. Although he is not subject to the curse of the sea and does know a little bit about swimming, it is obviously not enough. It seems that I need to take some time to practice my swimming ability. In addition, since he is no match for the main force of the Hughes pirates, Yang Hao has temporarily given up the idea of fighting the opponent. Right now, the main thing is to increase the strength first. In this case, maybe he can try to avoid the Hughes pirates first. After thinking for a while, Yang Hao turned on the simulation system again. Chapter 18 Become stronger and face off against one-eyed Hughes. 018 Become stronger and face off against one-eyed Hughes. On the first day, after you cleaned the ship, you immediately untied the anchor. Without the anchor, the pirate ship was quickly taken away by the waves. This is exactly the way you thought of. Not only can you avoid the snooping Xiao Xiao in the town, but you can also avoid the Hughes pirates. If you just drift on the sea, the Hughes pirates can't find you, right? Close black lens bracket. In fact, it turns out that your method is right. On the 10th day, when the Hughes pirates were supposed to come to the door, the Hughes pirates did not show up. You continue to practice on the 15th day, 1 month. It was only in the second month that an accident occurred, a storm caused the pirate ship to rock wildly, and you realize the danger of going to sea. As you don't know how to sail, you can only pray that the storm will pass as soon as possible, but unfortunately it backfires, the waves become more and more violent, and finally capsize the pirate ship. Open black lens bracket. You fell into the sea and started to float. Close black lens bracket. A piece of wood won't drown you, but the lack of food will quickly make you dying. Open black lens bracket. You are dead. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has produced benign changes, 1 muscle energy, and 2 some experience in using abilities. Get rid of malignant changes and boredom towards practice. Close black lens bracket. Yang Hao perked up. There seemed to be warmth spreading all over his body. 2 months of hard training is no joke. He became a little more familiar with the ape fruit ability. But the biggest change is physical fitness. After 2 months of hard training, he completely got rid of his weakness, and his muscles began to show all over his body. His current physical strength in human form is definitely stronger than that of ordinary people. Realizing this, Yang Hao nodded. There is no gain in ability, but the improvement of physical fitness will also make his ability stronger. It's just that the simulation time this time still made Yang Hao a little dissatisfied. Although it took much longer than the first time, it still couldn't allow Yang Hao to practice peacefully for too long. Even the first target time of 3 months was not reached. However, Yang Hao thought about it and felt that he was lucky to be able to maintain stability for 2 months. After all, the climate on the sea is unpredictable. Although the 4 seas is not as scary as the Grand Line, it should not be underestimated. He was really lucky to be able to float on the sea for 2 months without sinking. I don't know if I will have such luck next time. Realizing this, Yang Hao immediately changed his strategy. In the next simulation, he decided not to go to sea, but planned to return to his residence in the town with the money. Although there is still a possibility of being approached by the Hughes pirates, the chance is slim. Besides, if they really meet on land, maybe he can try to fight against the Hughes pirates again. The other party can't move the cannon into the town, right? Thinking of this, Yang Hao immediately started a new simulation. On the first day, you did not clean the ship, but packed the treasures and transported them to your residence in the town in batches. Close black lens bracket. Use that money to buy a lot of food, and you start the boring and arduous practice again. The next day, the news that the auxiliary ship of the Hughes pirates was destroyed spread directly in the town. It turned out that someone discovered the blood stains and corpses of the pirate ship. Everyone was in an uproar. This is the Hughes pirates. Who did this? Who has such strength? Such big news even shocked the gangsters in the town. The gang sent a large number of people to inquire about information, trying to find some clues. In addition, some pirates also tried to find it. After all, the treasure on the pirate ship had disappeared, which meant that that person had a lot of property in his hands. Closing square bracket. The town soon became commotion. You learned the message, but ignored it and continued to immerse yourself in practice. You had expected this situation. This time, on the 8th day, people from the Hughes pirates appeared, probably because they got the message earlier than before. When the Hughes pirates arrived, they immediately searched Bowen town aside, even the nearby Boya town was no exception. In this regard, the Capone family, which controls the two towns, has no complaints. On the contrary, it is very cooperative. Although the 5 major West Blue families are also top forces, the ones currently here are only branches of the Capone family, and they cannot afford to offend Shushai. Thieves. Close black lens bracket. After a search, the Hughes pirates actually came to the door. You can't help but be a little surprised when you see Hughes and others appearing outside. After some conversation, you know where the problem is. Close black lens bracket. When you appeared on the coast, someone saw you and didn't think anything of it at the time. But later, something happened to the Hughes pirates, and someone quickly thought of you. Moreover, your purchase of a large amount of food was also suspicious. Based on these clues, Hughes found you close black lens bracket. You suddenly realize it, but you don't say much. The other party comes to your door, so just go ahead and do it. Close black lens bracket. A large number of bullets are coming towards you first, but they no longer pose much danger. Soon, Hughes takes action, and you face off against the West Blue Overlord. As the West Blue Overlord, Hughes is indeed not simple. Not only is his figure swift, but his strength is also amazing. He is only slightly inferior to the beast form. Close black lens bracket. Coupled with the opponent's excellent weapon skills, after more than 10 rounds of fierce fighting, you will be at a disadvantage. Not long after, you were knocked to the ground. In your residence, Hughes and others found a large amount of familiar property. You are dead. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation has produced benign changes, 1 muscle energy, 2 ability usage experience, and 3 combat experience. Get rid of malignant changes and boredom towards practice. Close black lens bracket. When the simulation ended this time, Yang Hao couldn't help but narrow his eyes. Unexpectedly, in this simulation, he died faster than before, which also resulted in his gains from cultivation being much less and almost negligible. However, the battle with Shoes also increased Yang Hao's combat experience. In addition, the content of this simulation also gave Yang Hao more clues on how to practice stably. Chapter 19 Becoming Stronger Again, New Direction of Development Capabilities. 019 Becoming Stronger Again, New Direction of Development Capabilities. On the first day, you cleaned up the ship and started practicing without stopping. On the third day, everything is as usual. On the 10th day, 5 or 6 pirate ships of the Hughes pirates surrounded you. Open black lens bracket. You died in the sea. Close black lens bracket. Simulation ends. Good changes occur. 1 muscle strength, 2 combat experience. Another simulation ended, and Yang Hao became a little stronger again. The content of the simulation this time was similar to his first time, even exactly the same. However, this is exactly what Yang Hao thought of as a way to practice safely. This method is very simple, just make full use of the time when the Hughes pirates come to find you. Since it was not stable either at sea or back in town, he could simulate this period of time many times. To put it simply, it means simulating for 10 days, then stopping, and then simulating again for 10 days. Although it can only be simulated for 10 days at a time, in fact, it has no impact on him at all. On the contrary, simulating it once every 10 days seems to allow him to practice more accurately and become stronger. Even if there are any problems in his practice, he can make timely adjustments. In addition, it doesn't seem like a bad thing to face off against the Hughes pirates many times. At least he can absorb more naval battle experience from the other party. Even if you have no naval combat experience, it is still good to take the opportunity to practice your water skills. With this idea, Yang Hao naturally no longer struggled. Anyway, his goal is to practice steadily until he can completely transform 200 million belly into power. Since this method is feasible at the moment, he naturally doesn't think much about it anymore. In fact, Yang Hao's current situation is not considered safe. At least for now, it seems that in the short term, the Hughes pirates are very likely to come for revenge. Unless he runs out to sea. But going to sea rashly without navigation skills is also a very dangerous thing. Therefore, for Yang Hao, it is most important to convert 200 million Baileys into strength and obtain enough power to compete with Hughes or even crush the opponent. On the first day, you cleaned up the ship and started practicing. Open black lens bracket. Day 10, close black lens bracket. Once, twice, 10 times, 50 times, 100 times. In a short period of time, the treasure in front of Yang Hao decreased rapidly. 10 million, 30 million, 100 million. This scene is very strange. But what's even weirder is Yang Hao's figure sitting cross-legged began to change once every 10 days. The thin body gradually became plump, and the muscles became more and more obvious. Of course, such changes are very small, and if you don't pay attention, you won't notice them at all. But as time goes by, and the changes add up, they become very obvious. The original Yang Hao had the figure of an ordinary adult man, neither fat nor thin, nor strong. But now, the muscle outline is gradually revealed, and finally it becomes particularly obvious. Although it is not the kind of explosive muscles, it is definitely a powerful shape. This change did not stop until 100 million Baileys disappeared. Call. Yang Hao opened his eyes and let out a long breath. He spent 100 million belly, which means that he has spent more than 3 years in the simulation. More than 3 years of hard training have greatly improved his physical fitness. Yang Hao clenched his fist, and power surged through his body. At this time, even in human form, he felt that he already had power that was no weaker than that of the previous human-animal form. In this way, if he transforms into a human-animal form or a beast-like form again, his power will definitely be greater than before. In addition to the improvement of physical fitness, Yang Hao's water resistance has also become very good, and his combat experience has also been enriched. After all, after more than 3 years, he had almost fought hundreds of naval battles with the Hughes pirates. In this way, the water nature has been naturally developed, and a lot of combat experience has been accumulated. On the other hand, there hasn't been much progress in terms of devil fruit abilities. Although I am more familiar with it than before, I still haven't developed any powerful moves. Regarding this situation, Yang Hao was a little surprised, but also a little surprised. Surprisingly, after more than 3 years of development, there was not much gain. Not surprisingly, the animal fruit ability is a very monotonous ability. Unless he is a phantom beast, or he is a 6-style Superman. Otherwise, ordinary animal fruit abilities are really not easy to develop. Of course, his original stone throwing skills have become even more perfect. It's still not as exaggerated as 100 hits, but 9 out of 10 shots will definitely hit. However, Yang Hao was still a little dissatisfied. Such power would not allow him to run rampant in West Blue, let alone gain a foothold in the Grand Line. Besides, even if West Blue is a novice area, no one knows whether a master will suddenly appear. Just like over there in the East China Sea, Garp, Eagle Eye, Dragon. These are the top experts who stand at the pinnacle of the pirate world, but they appear in the East China Sea, which is known as the weakest. Who can guarantee that such a big figure will not appear in the chaotic West Blue? Of course, talking about these now is a bit far away. But not to mention the future, right now, Yang Hao has a problem that he has not solved. That is, the revenge of the Hughes pirates. Originally, Yang Hao thought it was nothing. In his opinion, as long as he completely transformed the 200 million belly into power, he would definitely be able to cope with the Hughes pirates and even crush them. But the current progress is slower than Yang Hao imagined. You know, Yang Hao is now much stronger than before he spent 100 million belly. But even so, in the last simulation, he still died at the hands of the Hughes pirates. Although this time, he also caused the death and injury of most of the Hughes pirates, and even caused the leader Hughes to be seriously injured, but failure is failure. This situation also made Yang Hao understand. If he continues to train, he may be able to strengthen to the point where he can compete with the Hughes pirates and be evenly matched. But it will definitely not achieve the effect he wants to crush the opponent. So Yang Hao knew that the next training plan had to be changed. Physical training improves slowly, and if you want to gain overwhelming strength, you still have to rely on devil fruit abilities. Of course, the question of his ape fruit ability still exists. But Yang Hao has already thought of a solution. This method is Chopper. To be more precise, it was the blue ball invented by Chopper. Chapter 20 Yang Hao wants to develop blue wave ball. 020 Yang Hao wants to develop blue wave ball. Thinking of Chopper's blue ball, a smile appeared on Yang Hao's handsome face. As a time traveler, it is of course impossible for him not to know about Chopper's blue ball. Especially when he also obtained the animal fruit ability. That's the famous 7-stage transformation. Compared with the 7-stage deformation of the blue wave ball, the ability developed by the marine 6th form combined with the animal fruit seems a bit unorthodox. This is because the moves developed by combining marine 6 styles with the ability of animal fruit are more inclined to marine 6 styles. The 7-stage transformation brought about by the blue wave ball is more like the animal fruit ability itself. Of course, Yang Hao is not belittling the combination of the marine 6th form and the ability of the animal type fruit. This combination is also very powerful. The most famous example is CP9's Rob Lucci. Don't look at his defeat at the hands of Luffy and even being crushed by Zoro in later generations, but this is just a disparity in personal strength. His defeat does not mean that the animal type fruit ability combined with the marine 6 styles is not strong. On the contrary, this combination is still very strong. If it can be mastered, it will not only be able to conquer the 4 seas, but also be able to gain a foothold in the Grand Route. Yang Hao has now become an animal type fruit ability user. If he can learn the 6 marine styles, he is not opposed to developing this combination. But the problem now is that he can't learn the 6th form of marine. Although the marine 6th form does not need to reach the New World, it can only be accessed by at least reaching the Grand Line. This is very difficult for him to achieve in West Blue. Of course, it would be extremely difficult for Yang Hao to obtain the magic medicine of the animal type called Blue Wave Ball. Because Chopper, who created it, is also on the Grand Line. What's even worse is that according to the current time period, even if Yang Hao finds Chopper, he may not be able to obtain the Blue Ball. All because at this stage, whether Chopper has created a Blue Wave Ball is also an unknown answer. It may be created, it may not be, it may be a semi-finished product, or it may just be an idea. All in all, it's too unlikely. So, how does Yang Hao solve this problem? He already had thoughts about this. It is better to rely on yourself than to rely on others. That's right, Yang Hao's idea is not to rely on Chopper, but to create the blue ball himself. In Yang Hao's view, it is not difficult to create a blue wave ball. After all, Chopper was originally a reindeer who knew nothing. He ate the Ren Ren fruit and gained human wisdom. After learning medical skills for several years, he created his own blue ball. Since Chauba could do it, Yang Hao asked himself that he must also be able to do it. Of course, Yang Hao's confidence does not come from this, but from the simulation system. With the simulation system, he can acquire more medical knowledge than Chopper, and at the same time, he can find more people and do more research and experiments. In this way, even if he only has a rough understanding of Rambo Ball, he is still confident. Certainly, if you want to study Blue Wave Ball with peace of mind, there is still a problem to solve. That is the revenge of the Hughes pirates. If you want to do research, you need a stable environment just like practicing before. But cultivation can lead to reincarnation in 10 days, but research cannot. Because Yang Hao plans to summon all the doctors in Bowen Town and even Boya Town, and even more talents to help. In that case, the reincarnation cannot last for 10 days, but needs to continue steadily. In this way, the revenge of the Hughes pirates will have to be dealt with. Thinking of this, Yang Hao's eyes flashed with a cold light. In that case, let's deal with it. Yang Hao murmured. Before he spent 100 million belly, he really didn't have the ability to deal with the revenge of the Hughes pirates. But now, he is actually capable of dealing with the other party. It is not impossible to kill Hughes. Yang Hao has never done this before, just because he was not serious. After all, the simulation of a reincarnation for 10 days has no impact on him. It doesn't matter whether he kills Hughes or not. But now, since we want to conduct research in a stable manner, it seems that it is impossible not to kill Hughes. Of course, in Yang Hao's view, this is also a good thing. All because after killing Hughes, it would be best if we could work the remaining pirates. You know, if he wants to gather talents to study together, he will definitely need a lot of help. And those pirates are undoubtedly ready-made manpower. Thinking of this, Yang Hao no longer hesitated and turned on the simulation system again. Welcome to the simulation system. Please select the goal and time of this simulation. The time is uncertain. The goal is to kill Hughes, take over the Hughes pirates, recruit talents, and study the blue ball. On the first day, you cleaned up the ship and continued training. The Hughes pirates have not arrived yet, so you are not in a hurry. In these days, continuing to train and strengthen will also increase your chances of winning. Close black lens bracket. On the 9th day, you start to prepare. Close black lens bracket. On the 10th day, the Hughes pirates arrived as promised, and 5 or 6 pirate ships surrounded the auxiliary ship. Close black lens bracket. Where are the people? But after a search, Hughes and others were stunned. There was no one on the pirate ship, and even you disappeared. While everyone's attention was on the auxiliary ship, you, who had been lurking in the water for a long time, quietly boarded the main ship of the Hughes pirates. This is exactly your plan. Through diving and blending into the pirate ship, your water skills will become extremely good. This is not difficult for you. After blending into the pirate group, you will be able to launch a sneak attack on Hughes. Avoid direct confrontation and fire bombardment. Your plan is feasible. After sneaking into the main ship, you quickly found an opportunity to launch a surprise attack on Hughes. Close black lens bracket. Hughes was caught off guard by you and was directly injured. However, it is not easy to take down Hughes. After a fierce battle, you were quickly surrounded by pirates. Close black lens bracket. Bullets and swords are constantly attacking you. With the help of the pirates, Hughes quickly reverses the situation and finally pays the price of serious injuries and kills you. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation will produce benign changes. 1. Some muscle strength. 2. Some combat experience. No malignant changes will be eliminated. Close black lens bracket. There is no doubt that this simulation failed. Yang Hao was not surprised by this. He didn't expect to succeed in the first place. After all, if the Hughes pirates were so easy to deal with, he wouldn't have been stuck here before. However, this simulation was not fruitless. At least he really sneaked up on Hughes. This means that his plan is feasible. The reason for the failure was simply that the sneak attack was not in place and there was no way to kill Hughes at once. In this way, if other pirates attack him, he will inevitably fail. But Yang Hao didn't care about it anymore. As his strength becomes stronger and his sneak attack plan becomes more and more perfect, he will definitely succeed. If once doesn't work, do it twice. If twice doesn't work, 4 times. He could feel that this was not a hopeless strategy, but the kind of situation that could see constant changes and thus establish a victory. Sure enough, after simulating 10 more times, Yang Hao finally succeeded. Chapter 21 Become a Captain, 1.0 Blue Wave Ball Research is successful. 021 became the captain and successfully researched the Blue Wave Ball. On the first day, you continue to practice and wait silently for the arrival of the Hughes pirates. On the 10th day, the Hughes pirates arrived and missed a beat, but you were already familiar with sneaking into the main ship of the Hughes pirates. This time, you did not rush into a sneak attack, but directly sneaked into the main ship of the Hughes pirates. Room. Close black lens bracket. Hide under the bed, slow down your breathing, and hide yourself as if your whole body is in trance. Hughes didn't find you, so he got furious, and then sent a large number of people to Bowen Town and even Boya Town to look for clues. At the end of the day, with nothing gained, Hughes became very angry and returned to the room with a hot woman. Hiding under the bed, you soon heard an unpleasant sound and felt the bed shaking violently. Your face darkened, but you did not move, still hiding quietly. At midnight, the bed finally stabilized. Not long after, there were two snores, one large and one small. Close black lens bracket. You waited for a while and then moved out from under the bed. In the darkness, you saw two figures, one large and one small, sleeping soundly on the bed. You knew this was a good opportunity for a sneak attack. Close black lens bracket. In the darkness, you silently turned into a beast shape, and your fist as big as clay smashed into Hughes' other intact eye. Close black lens bracket. With a bang, the bed was blown apart. Hughes's eyes were sunken and he lost his vision. Your blow directly hit Hughes severely. Hughes screamed and rushed towards you quickly. At the same time, the pirates on the boat were also alerted and rushed towards you. However, at this time, Hughes didn't have his weapon in his hand and couldn't see his eyes. You have all the advantages. The right time and place. So, when the pirates swarmed over, Hughes had died in your hands. Grabbing his body, you roared at the approaching pirates, "Your captain has been killed by me. If anyone still wants to die, come here and die." Close black lens bracket. The pirates were shocked by your roar, looked at each other, and froze in place with pale faces. You took the opportunity to subdue the pirates. Of course, there are still some thorns that cannot be tamed, and they were all killed by you Thunder Town. At this point, you have become the new captain of the Hughes pirates. You breathed a sigh of relief after conquering the Hughes pirates. You could finally start researching the blue ball. Without saying anything, you directly found the ship's doctors, and then sent people to the town to find doctors. Close black lens bracket. The ship's doctors are confused about the blue wave ball you mentioned, but under your majesty, they still have to immerse themselves in research. Close black lens bracket. Afterwards, doctors from the two towns, either invited or snatched, also boarded the ship. There are 30 or 40 doctors. With so many doctors together, I finally understand what you mean. You don't know how to make a blue wave ball, but the principle is still very clear, that is, it changes the deformation wavelength of the devil fruit's ability. Close black lens bracket. You have not concealed this. You want these doctors to develop something that can change the wavelength of the devil fruit's ability to transform. Even if it is not a blue wave ball, it doesn't matter, as long as it is effective. Close black lens bracket. According to your order, the doctors began to study day and night. You were very cooperative, giving people to others and giving money to people when they asked. Close black lens bracket. With such cooperation, the research on Lan Bocho has really made a little progress. Pills are manufactured one by one. You keep taking them, observing the effects, and then making adjustments based on the effects. Close black lens bracket. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months later, the blue wave ball still has not been developed. You feel that you can't go on like this anymore, so you might as well get a lot of medical books and start studying on your own. In addition, you also got some books on human body research. You studied hard and became a junior doctor in 3 months, thus joining the research team. Maybe it's because you have more research on the human body, or maybe it's because you know more about yourself. In short, after you joined, the research that was originally stagnant has slowly progressed again. Open black lens bracket 1 year, 2 years, close black lens bracket. 2 years later, there is an orange pill in your hand. It is the blue ball that you spent a lot of manpower and material resources and more than 2 years to develop. As before, you swallow the blue wave ball again. This time, it was ineffective or slightly different from the previous one. After you swallowed the blue wave ball, your arms suddenly grew longer, and a pair of thick arms actually became longer. Get up, measure it a little, and you are pleasantly surprised to find that the lengthened arms are actually longer than your legs. When you come back to your senses, you are endlessly surprised, because you know that the blue wave ball has made great progress. Sure enough, after another 2 months, you successfully developed a pill with the same effect as Chopper's Rambo ball. Close black lens bracket. You tried it, and sure enough, there were several more morphological changes, but the sequelae of the blue wave ball still existed. You didn't care, because you had achieved your goal. Close black lens bracket. Next, you were ready to continue research to see if you could develop a more stable blue wave ball, but you encountered a bottleneck again. You knew that you could no longer continue the research in a short period of time, so you decisively chose to exit the simulation. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. This simulation produces benign changes. 1. Muscle strength. 2. A large amount of medical human body knowledge. 3. Blue wave ball manufacturing method. eliminates malignant changes. 1. The disadvantages caused by forgetting to sleep and eat. 2. The boringness caused by training and research. 3. Experiments. Dark injuries caused by drugs. Muscle strength once again strengthened Yang Hao's body. But what concerned him most was the large amount of information pouring out of his mind. This is exactly a large amount of medical and human body knowledge, as well as the method of making blue wave balls. After integrating this information, Yang Hao was suddenly overjoyed. After he successfully killed Hughes, he actually developed the blue wave ball. Although it was only the first generation version, it was enough to surprise Yang Hao. However, Yang Hao was not too surprised by this situation. Although the Rambo ball can be called a miracle medicine, after all, it is just something that Chopper has studied for several years while studying medicine. But now, he has summoned so many doctors, and even he has learned his own knowledge to join them. It is not surprising that he can research the blue wave ball. Next, it's time to make a blue wave ball. Yang Hao murmured. Now that he has a method to make a blue wave ball, it is time for him to make a blue wave ball in reality. Chapter 20 2022, Experimenting with the Blue Wave Ball, Suitable Yang Hao Changes. 022, Test the Blue Wave Ball, what is the suitable change for Yang Hao? Inside reality, Yang Hao first cleaned up Fair and others on the pirate ship. Then he took the remaining tens of millions of belly and began to purchase medicinal herbs and materials in the town. These are all things needed to make blue wave balls. One day later, Yang Hao had 10 more orange pills in his hand. It's the blue ball. With the manufacturing method, it is not difficult to make it. Looking at the 10 blue balls in front of him, Yang Hao couldn't help but his eyes lit up. It's one thing inside the simulation. In reality, it's another thing. At this moment, with these blue balls, he truly has the capital to dominate West Blue. Without saying a word, Yang Hao picked up a blue ball and stuffed it into his mouth. Blue wave ball has sequelae, it is best to use it in a simulation system. But now, Yang Hao still wants to try the effect in reality. Crack. The blue ball was swallowed directly by Yang Hao. Yang Hao began to transform, and at the same time he chanted silently in his mind. Soon, a magical scene appeared. His size increased, and golden hair sprouted from his body. This is a beast transformation, but after turning into a 3-meter-tall King Kong, Yang Hao's arms continued to grow, and finally became thicker and longer. At first glance, it looks even more exaggerated than the thick thighs. Yang Hao glanced at himself reflected in the mirror and immediately smiled. It seems that the 7-stage deformation is not fixed, but can be done at will, or it can be formed through deliberate development. Chopper ate the version of the Rambo ball, which initially had 7 stages of transformation. They are weight strengthening, jumping strengthening, fur strengthening, wrist strength strengthening, mind strengthening, foot strength strengthening, and antlers strengthening. These are the 7 transformations of Chopper. But obviously, Yang Hao couldn't do some of the transformations, such as the strengthening of antlers. He doesn't have antlers, so Yang Hao originally thought that he could only master 6 stages of changes. But later, he discovered in the simulation that this change was not fixed. To put it simply, it varies from person to person. The mutation ability provided by the blue wave ball can be said to be condensed everywhere in the body, allowing the structure to take the desired form. Ever since, Yang Hao also had his own transformation. The current gibbon-like form is his tailor-made form. This form seems to be the same as Chopper's enhanced wrist strength, but in fact, there are differences. Chopper's wrist strength enhancement is to strengthen the muscles, while Yang Hao's change is to strengthen the entire arm, regardless of strength, volume, and length. Yang Hao named this form arm strengthening. His arm was strengthened for a reason. You know, his strongest ability at present is not in close combat, but in throwing rocks from afar. And after the arm is strengthened, it will increase the power of throwing stones. Thinking of this, Yang Hao took advantage of the blue wave ball to expire, and impromptu picked up the stone, then suddenly pulled it with his long and thick arm, and finally threw it out with a bang. Bang bang bang. Several terrifying potholes suddenly appeared on the solid wall. Yang Hao took a look, his eyes suddenly lit up, and he took a breath of cold air. Hiss, this power. Sure enough, his stone-throwing power became even stronger. Compared with before, it is more than twice as powerful. Although he has not personally tested it, Yang Hao feels that such power can destroy steel to a certain extent. When he thought of this, Yang Hao's ferocious face suddenly became filled with a smile. Blue wave ball is so powerful. If we say that the original ability of animal fruits is to develop abilities based on the form, then, with the blue wave ball, you can develop forms according to your abilities. For example, if he can throw stones, his arms will be strengthened. If his kicking skills are strong, use the kick to strengthen it. Okay, the next step is to get familiar with the use of the blue wave ball. The more Yang Hao thought about it, the more satisfied he became, and then he turned on the simulation system. As for the remaining Bailey, he does not plan to conduct any more research on the blue wave ball. What we need to do now is to get familiar with the blue wave ball. At least, he has to develop more forms that suit him. In addition, he also needs to master the monster strengthening and transformation of Lan Bochu as soon as possible. Although the sequelae of strengthening monsters are huge, at critical moments, it will undoubtedly be a life-saving weapon. Especially at sea. If he is not hostile and uses monsters to strengthen him, not only can he turn defeat into victory, but his safety will also be guaranteed. All because when the time comes, after defeating the enemy with the body of a monster, he will most likely blow up the ship and fall into the sea. If you fall into the sea, you can restore your original shape and suppress the loss of life force. No, I am not subject to the curse of the sea. The seawater may not be able to eliminate the monster's enhanced state by then. Moreover, if you fall into the sea, even if the monster's enhancement is really removed, you will still be in a weak state. In that case, you will also be in danger of drowning. Yang Hao suddenly realized this and frowned. The monster's enhanced transformation didn't seem to be as good as he thought. Falling into the sea to cancel the monster's strengthening is obviously not a good idea. As for anesthetics, even if there were anesthetics, who could approach him at that time, and who would dare to approach him? Of course, even so, it is still necessary to develop anesthetics. In addition, you must also master monster strengthening. It's all because monsters strengthen this transformation method, which is similar in nature to nuclear bombs. You can use it, but you can't live without it. As for how to deal with it later, we will talk about it at that time. After some calculations, Yang Hao still has a lot of things to be busy with. But he is not in a hurry. With the simulation system, he can solve it one by one. As for now, let's get familiar with the various deformations of the blue wave ball. Yang Hao turned on the simulation system again. On the first day, you continued to make blue wave balls. After 6 hours passed, you took the second blue wave ball. The next day, you still know about the blue wave ball, and then wait for the time to pass, continue to take the basketball, and get familiar with it. In the blink of an eye, 5 days have passed, and you have taken 20 blue wave balls, and you have gained a certain understanding of the form that suits you. On the 6th day, before the effect of your medicine wore off, the Hughes pirates came knocking on the door. You had no choice but to fight. Hughes was still very powerful, and you were forced to swallow the second blue pill in a short time. The wave ball has entered a state of random transformation. This form is very cheating. You occasionally suppressed Hughes, and occasionally you were suppressed and beaten. In the end, you fell into a disadvantage. Forced, you swallowed the third blue wave ball, close black lens bracket. The deformation effect of the blue wave ball completely spread throughout the body. Just like Chopper, you turned into a monster more than 10 meters tall. The power of the monster was indeed terrifying. You killed Hughes directly and defeated a large number of pirates, but you lost reason. The mind is dominated by the desire to kill and destroy. After an hour, you will run out of life force and die. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. Benign changes are produced. 1 blue wave ball usage experience, 2 some combat experience, eliminate malignant changes, 1 remaining medicinal power in the body, 2 overdrawn vitality. Yang Hao perked up. This time, he gained a lot from the simulation. Chapter 23 Yang Hao's 5 stages of transformation. 023 Yang Hao's 5-stage transformation. Yang Hao perked up. This time, he gained a lot from the simulation. On the one hand, I became familiar with other transformations, and on the other hand, I also gained a lot of experience, including the experience of strengthening monsters. Sure enough, just as he thought, the strengthened monster was indeed very dangerous. If you use it on land, you can only use up your vitality and die of exhaustion. As for the sea, I haven't tried it yet, but the consequences are probably not much better. However, its power is indeed impressive. It is estimated that the strength is equivalent to 10 times that of his beast form, and he easily defeated Hughes. Talk about it. The revenge of the Hughes pirates can now be considered a good thing. Because Yang Hao is familiar with other transformations, the best way is of course not to do it behind closed doors, but to learn more about himself and adjust his form during the battle. Of course, it is only a simulation so far, and the effect is not very great. So we have to continue the simulation. Yang Hao didn't hesitate. Currently, he still has 20 million Bailey left. Although it's not much, it's definitely enough to familiarize yourself with the form. If that's the case, then spend it. After all, when Hughes is taken care of, a large sum of money will come in. Again, after gaining a certain amount of power, he no longer needs to worry about funds. On the first day, you continue to familiarize yourself with transformation. Although you can only take the blue wave ball once in 6 hours, you are still familiar with it faster through your previous experience. On the 6th day, the Hughes pirates attacked again. This time, you, who had been prepared for it, deliberately did not eat the blue ball, but waited for Hughes to come. Sure enough, the blue wave ball that can be controlled accurately showed Kamui. Within 3 minutes, you used the blue wave ball to defeat Hughes. However, Hughes did not die. Instead, he persisted until the effectiveness of the blue wave ball disappeared, and the opponent made a comeback. A large number of pirates surround you. In the end, you were forced to eat the third blue ball in a short period of time. Open black lens bracket. You were dead. Close black lens bracket. The simulation is over. Benign changes are produced. 1 blue wave ball usage experience, 2 some combat experience, eliminate malignant changes, 1 remaining medicinal power in the body, 2 overdrawn vitality. Yang Hao shook his head. He's still not very good at using the blue wave ball. Otherwise, 3 minutes would be enough for him to kill Hughes. But Yang Hao was not discouraged. Generally speaking, it is because he is not familiar with the use of the blue wave ball and has not summarized the transformation that he needs and is suitable for. In that case, let's continue. Once, 3 times. 10 times. 20 times. After this simulation, Yang Hao stopped with bright eyes. He closed his eyes and silently absorbed the information pouring into his mind. At this point, he is completely familiar with the blue wave ball. To be more precise, he has developed a form that suits him. The first one is naturally the previous arm strengthening. With this arm enhancement, even Hughes can hardly stop the firepower he unleashes with his stone-throwing skills. Even someone of Fair's level could only be swept away by him. In addition, arm strengthening also has thinner branches, such as strengthening the palms and strengthening wrist strength, so that you can be more flexible when facing different situations. The second one is foot strengthening. This strengthening is the same as arm strengthening and has branches, such as thigh strengthening and foot strength strengthening. This foot strengthening is also very necessary for Yang Hao. After all, the first thing that strengthened feet brings is speed. This is also the ability to save lives. Although Yang Hao usually takes risks in simulations, no one can say whether you will encounter danger in reality. Although monster strengthening is a trump card, this trump card is too unstable. Therefore, some conventional means of escape are still necessary. And with the strengthened legs, Yang Hao would naturally be able to escape more quickly. The third one is fur strengthening. Needless to say, strengthen your defense. Yang Hao has already verified that in the fur strengthened form, he can truly block bullets. As for the cannonballs, they are not that interesting, but they also have great resistance. Besides, it's mind strengthening and monster strengthening. Needless to say, these two enhancements. The former is a method used by Yang Hao to enhance his brain power and assist his thinking. Yang Hao has a feeling that this brain enhancement may allow him to develop anesthetics faster and develop blue wave balls. The latter is naturally a life-saving trump card. In general, there are 5 new forms developed by Yang Hao. They are arm strengthening, foot strengthening, fur strengthening, mind strengthening, and monster strengthening. Although these 5 transformations are not many, they are enough for Yang Hao to use. After mastering these 5 transformations, Yang Hao can indeed crush the Hughes pirates. The next 3 or 4 simulations ended with him crushing the Hughes pirates. At this point, Yang Hao has finally solved the troubles of the Hughes pirates. Even if the other party really came to call, he wouldn't panic at all. However, there are still several days before the opponent attacks. Yang Hao still had a few million Baileys left. After thinking about it, he continued to simulate. This time, he defeated the Hughes pirates again, and then used the manpower of the Hughes pirates to recruit a large number of doctors again to continue research. But this time, Yang Hao did not study the version of the blue wave ball, but focused on the anesthetic. The current money is definitely not enough to continue researching the blue wave ball, but it should be no problem to develop a suppressive anesthetic. And next, sure enough, just as Yang Hao thought, anesthetics were quickly developed. Firstly, because there are so many doctors, brainstorming is really effective. Secondly, it is because Yang Hao's mind has been strengthened, which has also been put to many uses. With his mind strengthened, Yang Hao had a lot of inspiration. With the combination of the two, it is not difficult to develop anesthetics. After the research came out, Yang Hao also conducted some experiments and only stopped the simulation after confirming that the anesthetic was indeed effective. In the following time, he did not continue to use blue wave balls, but silently accumulated blue wave balls. Finally, in reality, the Hughes pirates came to kill him. Chapter 24 Fierce Ape, 3 minutes. 024 Vicious Ape, 3 minutes. Are you that ferocious ape? In reality, the Hughes pirates came to kill him. Led by a one-eyed middle-aged man, Yang Hao's residence was surrounded. There is no doubt that this one-eyed old man is none other than one-eyed Hughes. Hughes looked at the handsome Yang Hao and couldn't help but frown on his fierce face. He learned that Fair had been killed and brought people over to find him angrily. It took 2 days to find the murderer, but I didn't expect that it turned out to be a young man who was less than 20 years old. Yang Hao couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he heard this. A vicious ape? He had never heard of this title in the simulation. But he soon understood. The explanatory text of the simulation system is an abridged version, and some unimportant things will be filtered out. It is estimated that the other party's title has been filtered. After hearing this title, Yang Hao also understood. It seems that the few fish that slipped through the net said this to Hughes. A vicious ape? Yang Hao murmured secretly. He didn't expect that he would get a nickname so quickly. In his plan, he originally wanted to keep a low profile and follow the Gozi Ju in everything. But now, with his increased strength, he no longer needs to be so low-key. In fact, even if Yang Hao wanted to keep a low profile, he couldn't. It was okay to kill Fair last time, but if he wants to kill Hughes again this time, he won't be able to keep a low profile no matter what. In this case, Yang Hao didn't bother to care. Besides, the nickname, Vicious Ape, seems quite appropriate, haha. Is that what you're talking about? As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Hao really turned into a vicious ape. It is the beast form of the ape fruit's ability. Seeing Yang Hao's transformation, Shu's expression suddenly changed, and a look of fear flashed in his one eye. As for the other pirates, they screamed in surprise, with fear hidden in their voices. The ferocious ape is really a ferocious ape, he is a legendary ability user. It should be right, this is the animal-type fruit ability. Although the devil fruit ability is a legend, many people have heard of it. As the top pirate group in West Blue, Hughes and others still have some knowledge. The leader, Hughes, reacted and sneered. No wonder Fire died in your hands. It turns out you are a devil fruit user. But don't think that you can do whatever you want with devil fruit powers. Ferocious ape, Lousy asks you why you attacked Fire and the others. At the end of the sentence, strong murderous intent bloomed in Hughes's one eye. Naturally, he came here to seek revenge on Yang Hao. But at the same time, he was also very confused as to why Yang Hao would attack Fire and others. He remembered that he and others had never provoked such a person. As for Fire, maybe he provoked the other party by collecting resources, but if he really provoked such an existence, Fire would also report to him. What the hell is going on? When Yang Hao heard this, he immediately grinned slightly. Why? How can there be so many reasons? The ending now is that they are dead and I am alive, that's enough, isn't it? Upon hearing this, Hughes and others' expressions immediately change. As pirates, they have long had the awareness of the law of the jungle. In fact, they also follow this law. It is precisely because of plundering everywhere that the Hughes pirates have reached their current scale. It's just that in the past, they used the law of the jungle to prey on others, but now someone is preying on them. How can you tolerate this? Clang clang clang. In an instant, all the pirates showed their weapons, and a large number of guns and blunderbuss were also aimed at Yang Hao. Hughes' face was gloomy. He knew that he could no longer talk to Yang Hao. To be honest, he never thought about talking to Yang Hao. The other party killed his vice captain. If he didn't take any action, he would never want to hang out in West Blue in the future. The reason why I ask this is just out of curiosity. But since Yang Hao didn't say anything, he didn't bother to ask more questions. Isn't it the law of the jungle? Okay, let's see who is the weakling this time. Put. Hughes waved his hand. Bang bang bang. Gunshots rang out wildly. Hundreds of pirates fired pistols and blunderbuss at Yang Hao. In an instant, a spectacular hail of bullets formed, covering Yang Hao. Seeing Yang Hao still standing there stupidly, a sinister smile suddenly appeared on Hughes's face. He is not ignorant about the abilities of animal fruits and is even very interested. He knew that after eating this animal-type fruit, one's physical fitness would be greatly improved. But this improvement also has limits. It is related to their respective animal abilities. The opponent's ability is obviously that of a monkey. This kind of animal's defense is not that high. To put it simply, the opponent can't stop the bullet. In this way, surrounded by so many bullets, the opponent will be disabled even if he does not die. But just when Hughes was thinking this, Yang Hao's ferocious face also showed a smile. 3 minutes, he murmured. Hearing this, Hughes was stunned. 3 minutes? What 3 minutes? Yang Hao smiled slightly. 3 minutes, of course, refers to the effect of the blue wave ball, only 3 minutes. Likewise, this is also the time for him to defeat the Hughes pirates. As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Hao bit into pieces the blue ball that had been hidden in his mouth for a long time. First strengthening, he shouted lowly, and a strange scene appeared. Yang Hao, who originally transformed into King Kong, became shorter, but the golden hair on his body grew again, instantly covering the Earth's surface like the armor of later generations. At the same time, his faceplate also became tougher. At this moment, bullets shot out and landed on Yang Hao. Puff puff puff. There was a burst of sound, confirming that those bullets had indeed hit Yang Hao. But the ferocious smile on Shias's face stopped. Those bullets did hit Yang Hao, but they did not enter. Instead, they bounced slightly and fell to the ground. Ding 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 ding. A large number of bullets danced on the ground. Hughes' pupils shrank. The pirates under him were stunned. What? The bullet bounced off. How is that possible? Yang Hao felt his body silently, and the smile at the corner of his mouth widened, completely turning into a smile. Those bullets, let alone penetrating his body, couldn't even cause a little pain. This is fur enhancement. Looking at the confused Shoes and others, Yang Hao chuckled. Next is foot strengthening. Saying this, another change appeared on Yang Hao's body. Chapter 25 The Power of Transformation. 025 The Power of Transformation. Another change occurred in Yang Hao. The fur on his body suddenly returned to its original strength, and the whole person resembled a human animal shape. But his legs and feet have become extremely strong. It's not an exaggerated shape, but an unusually appropriate shape, showing a powerful streamlined shape. Boom! At this moment, Yang Hao bent his feet and exploded. The ground was trampled and Yang Hao flew out like a rocket. What? Flying over? The pirates suddenly screamed. Hughes suddenly turned around and saw Yang Hao rushing into the crowd of pirates like a cannonball. The coming fluctuations even overturned a dozen people. This is not over yet. Arm strengthening. As Yang Hao shouted, his arms suddenly became thicker and longer. Immediately afterwards, Yang Hao raised his arms and crashed into each other. Boom boom boom. A large number of pirates were knocked away, and the two long and thick arms were like two iron pillars, easily making people lose their fighting power and fall to the ground. Yang Hao charged wildly among the pirates, knocking down hundreds of them in an instant. Hughes didn't bring many people, so most of them were taken care of. Seeing such a situation, Shu Xuang's face suddenly darkened and he roared towards Yang Hao. Boy, go to hell. The original loss of the first officer's crew had already caused heavy losses to Hughes. If he lost so many men now, he would probably have to recover for a long time before he could have the capital to enter the Grand Line. And all of this is thanks to Yang Hao in front of me. The huge anger caused Hughes's one eye to shine with a sinister light. He wielded a giant stick and waved it wildly to kill the general. When Yang Hao saw this, he was not surprised but happy. The blue wave ball is only effective for 3 minutes. It would be troublesome if Hughes avoided fighting. Taking the initiative to kill them now is exactly what he wants. Of course, this is normal, after all, Hughes doesn't know the existence of the blue wave ball. I don't know that Yang Hao's current forms can only last for 3 minutes. Yang Hao suddenly realized the importance of intelligence. If Hughes knew the information about Lan Bochu, he might be able to deal with it even if he is not as powerful as him. But now, his intelligence is not as good as his own, and his strength is not as good as his own. Yang Hao can't think of any reason for failure. Seeing the opponent coming, Yang Hao suddenly stabilized his figure and took out a stone with a smile. The strengthened form of his arms, the strongest attack method, is of course not waving his arms and running rampant, but the stone throwing that he first developed. Ape unlimited firepower. Yang Hao exerted a little force, and the stone in his hand suddenly shattered into pieces. With a wave of his rounded arm, it instantly erupted like a terrifying shotgun. A strong sound of breaking through the air struck, and Houston was suddenly startled. Then his face changed wildly, and the giant stick in his hand suddenly turned and swung towards the rocks that were shot in front of him. Boom boom boom. The stone was immediately exploded, and Hughes' expression softened, but soon, his face turned ugly again. All because after the blow, Yang Hao did not stop his movements, but started moving his hands together. Boo-hoo-hoo, in an instant, there seemed to be a hail of bullets in front of Hughes. Moreover, the power of the shooting stones is far greater than that of ordinary bullets. Hughes was shocked. This firepower was as if hundreds of people were shooting at him. Not daring to neglect, Hughes shouted, and the giant stick in his hand danced completely into a circle. Bang bang bang, a large number of rocks were smashed. Yang Hao was not surprised when he saw this. As mentioned above, he has fought against Hughes dozens of times in the simulation. It would be no exaggeration to say that he knew everything about Hughes' methods. The opponent's giant stick skills are indeed very strong, but that's all. If it were a stone thrown by him in his beast form, the opponent would indeed be able to resist it. But after the arm is strengthened, throwing stones will not work. Next, as expected, after Yang Hao threw more than a dozen times, Hughes's face turned red. At this moment, in front of his giant stick, a large amount of gravel formed into dust and accumulated. Originally, Hughes was able to barely resist the huge stick, but as more and more rocks were thrown, Hughes's arms began to feel numb. Gradually, in his feeling, the stones that kept shooting towards him were like a mountain that kept increasing in weight and finally crushed him. Boom! Suddenly there was a loud noise. The stone finally broke through Hughes' interception. Puff puff puff. The sound of a foreign object entering the flesh was instantly arousing. Hughes was shocked, and the giant stick he was waving in his hand stopped. He lowered his head in shock, only to see that his chest and abdomen were pierced with several terrifying holes, and he was bleeding profusely. A strong feeling of weakness came over instantly. Hughes slowly raised his head again, and the picture in front of him gradually closed. The last scene he saw was Yang Hao shaking his head. It's only been 2 minutes, it's really not a fight. When this voice reached his ears, Hughes completely lost consciousness and fell to the ground. This pirate with a bounty of 40 million was killed just like that. The pirates around him were stunned when they saw this. Captain. The captain is dead. In their eyes, such a powerful captain was actually killed by this vicious ape. For a moment, these pirates were stunned in place. Yang Hao smiled and strode over. Roughly twisting off Hughes's head, he turned around and shouted to the pirates. Your captain was killed by me, and I will be your captain from now on. After I have said this, who agrees and who disagrees? When the pirates heard this, they were suddenly shocked and looked at each other. The scene was silent. Yang Hao grinned. If no one speaks, then I will treat it as your default. So far, he has completely conquered the Hughes pirates.